It says starting. Okay, we are officially live now.
Hey.
Hey.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Man.
Hello.
You just replace one ally with another ally to do any kind of job here at Easy Allies, and then it all goes wrong.
Yep, fire.
But we have a select group of allies today. We only have, 5 people?
Yep.
And so, yeah, we have no Bloodworth, we have no Ian, and we have no Ben. They are all doing very important things. So we will get, and you got me reading off questions.
Jones, you should still stall for a sec. We have 2 viewers currently. We got to let people click that link.
File in.
You're talking to 2 people at the moment.
Hey, they're important, right, Kyle?
They are an important 2 people. Thank you to the 2 of you who joined us immediately. Diehards. Huber,
Yes.
what does your nose feel like?
The left nostril's a little runny. The right one
Oh, so that's
is
like
little
that's a
stuffy.
thing? Got it. Yeah, dude, I'm going to go get some tea real quick.
Do
We got
this.
up to 7 viewers. We're doing good.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, the allergies have been brutal.
We'll
Yeah.
get some more coffee then.
What you are currently viewing is Easy Allies Q&A, available to patrons of patreon.com/Easy Allies, $20 and above. You can submit questions, and then we, the Easy Allies, as a group, as the biggest group that we can possibly muster, will answer all of those questions in the order that we receive them for the span of 2 hours, which we will tack some minutes onto, because we are definitely starting late today. Huber's very tired. He's been playing Assassins all night.
Every night, all night. Assassins.
I'm very red. I got the red curtain behind me. I got the red light up above.
Red curtain looks good, Jones. You
Yeah,
got a good
Jones, that
setup,
curtain
dude.
looks fan-freaking-tastic.
Well, thank you, Huber.
Love it.
Nice.
If I
I
had to
noticed
rank
it earlier.
the professionalism of our 5 setups, Jones is number 1.
Jones is number 1.
Damiani number 2.
Brad's number 2. Brad's got the guitars in the background. And
Jones
the
looks
sound.
like he's about to start, though, a political podcast.
Me?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Jones does.
The star over here.
Yeah. Welcome to the Jones Zone.
Welcome to the.
Brad just has low saturation, and so let's get back to some points. He does get number 3. Huber gets number 4. I'll take number 5.
I like it when Damiani goes bright white and he turns into Morgan Freeman from Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I am God. Like, like the echo, the meow echoes in the background with just like staring straight up into heaven at Damiani.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Do we have a chat window up before we get super going?
I can super go right here with some chat. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not seeing anybody in there in chat, but I got it. There we go.
Great.
Damiani's in group chat. Good.
Great.
I'm so glad that I have Michael Damiani and Michael Huber for the first question that we get from Mike Hook 1. Good afternoon, allies. My 2 most beloved television series of all time are getting rebooted and are both premiering next year. Buffy the Vampire Slayer and The Last Airbender. I feel different about each one getting new life. For me, Buffy has the freedom to do whatever it would like. It should not tell the same story as the original show, otherwise it'll suffer to hold its audience. The show will be set in modern times and will need to reflect that. You guys know I love Persona 5. However, I stopped watching the anime 3 episodes in because it was an exact retelling of the game and I became bored. The Last Airbender will need to be faithful to the original as it is perfect in every way. My hope is that they retell the story but add more world building and more lore. They can borrow stuff from The Legend of Korra, i.e. First Airbender, Spirit World, Rava. Ultimately, I just want both to be great even if they aren't what I initially think they should be. What are your thoughts on these 2 shows getting rebooted and what would you like to see from them? Starting with Michael Huber, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I'm excited about this. I'm extremely cautiously optimistic, though. I doubt, any of the OG crew, Joss Whedon or Sarah Michelle Gellar, anyone's going to be directly hands-on involved. I'm also not sure if they're doing one of those soft reboots where they like acknowledge everything that's happened in the previous show, but also like starting their own thing. The only way I would be like kind of weirded out is if they said, yeah, it's a direct follow-up. I want some kind of either soft reboot or just disregard the events entirely.
Tell me how you would react if Sarah Michelle Gellar is the mother of the new Buffy and she in the pilot hands her a steak.
If Joss Whedon wrote that episode, I'd be 100% on board.
Oh, man.
The Last Airbender, Michael Damiani.
All right, so
Settle
He's
in.
got this
Here we
locked
go.
and loaded. He's ready to
don't
go.
I do not understand why you need to make a remake of the animated series, because the animated series is flawless. You're never going to outdo it. You're not, especially not going to outdo it with a live action series. There are so many other stories that can tell in the Avatar universe that would be way more worthy of doing something with live action. Just because we hear about it, you got the stuff with Zuko's mother. You could do everything in the 70-year gap pretty much between the end of Airbender and the start of Korra. You could do the stuff that they're doing in the comics with like Kyoshi, like the Avatar Kyoshi stories are going to be told. You can even start doing. They could do live action of everything that happened after the end of Korra, because there's still more stuff going on in Korra in the comics. I just don't understand why you want to mess with something that is so revered, is flawless. Cut out maybe 1 or 2 episodes there, and there's nothing you change about that. And there's no way live action can do as well as the anime. There's going to be some stuff, no matter how good the CG is, which they're not going to have like infinite budget for the CG. It's not going to, like, they can't capture it as well as animation. There's just some things that don't translate into live action. And I mean, it'll probably be decent because they have a lot of the original people involved with it. So it won't be a disaster like the live action film. But I don't like, the only thing I could see the point of this is that they're trying to prove that Avatar series still has a lot of like value to viewers and like to Netflix, so that maybe they could do more with it after this is a big success. Oh, look how successful this was. Now we can go and do other stuff with the Avatar universe, because as much as I love Korra, Nick kind of like threw it to the wolves in terms of like, we don't know what to do with this. It's not doing well ratings wise because we gave it a shit spot to begin with. Let's just release it all at once and stuff, because we don't know what to do with it and stuff also. And they screwed over Korra, so maybe they have to like prove again that people will actually watch this. That's the only thing I could think of.
I have my doubts, just like Damiani. I'm scared. I don't know what you could possibly do. Maybe like some of the character interactions could be like slightly more realistic, but I don't. They were just those moments were so great. I remember like Amanda really summed it up when I introduced it to her. She was like, I love these characters. Like I am in love with them. Like I really, really care for them, you know, and like it would take so much for me to be like, yes, a whole new cast. I'm into them as well. That's an investment. Anybody else want to weigh in on either property?
I just want to say I kind of buy Damiani's theory. It's like when Hubert talks about remasters revitalizing attention, opening the door for sequels and just a franchise existing today. I think that might be what's going on with Avatar. I like your theory, Damiani.
Oh yeah, that's totally right.
And I hope Buffy is totally off the rails, because just make a new thing.
It's going to be so serious. You're not ready for how serious that show is going to be.
Michelle Jackson, I recently started the Yakuza series and have adored its story and mini games, but there's one aspect I don't enjoy: combat. I have a black belt in Taekwondo, and Yakuza characters are freestyle fighters, but some things are universal. Headbutts are always a bad idea. Jump spin kicks are powerful, but hard to pull off in a real fight because you need to set them up. Hand strikes are super risky. They can be deadly, leave you open to grapples, and you can easily break your hand or wrist if your form is off. My weapon specialty is the Zhang Bong, aka the bow staff, and cannot stress of how bad of an idea it is to swing a long weapon club style. They're hard to control when grasped at the ends, and there's a good chance it'll rebound and smack you in the face or ribs. I know the combat isn't meant to be realistic, but I instinctively wince when I see characters do things that should have shattered their fingers or killed their opponents. Allies, have your real-life experiences or knowledge ever ruined an aspect of a game for you?
I have a question to this person that I hope they answer in the comments or on Patreon somewhere or on Twitter. What game has the most realistic combat? The most like by the book, safe, tactical.
Ultimate Warrior. Was it the Spike game?
Yeah.
UFC maybe, Kyle, one of those?
Jackie Chan.
Well, like UFC is all rules. Basically, I want to know if you're a martial artist trying to brawl in the streets, what's the most realistic game, you know?
The Quiet Man.
The Quiet Man.
Streets of Rage.
Kyle, you're big on context, though. Is there ever anything realism as opposed to
Yeah, where it comes like I think it's interesting that it comes to your expertise though. It's like what I call the paleontologist thing, where somebody in the movie theater is shouting at Jurassic Park that nobody else cares about because they're a paleontologist and they're like, "Hey, it wasn't born at that time." It's like, okay, bud. I don't know if I have any expertise in anything where I know a lot more than a standard person does. I think it happens. The reverse happens a lot in like movies and TV where they're talking about video games. Recent example. This isn't recent, the Bryan Cranston movie where he's like undercover with the drug trade and they're in the 70s and there's a Sonic the Hedgehog tabletop hockey game. And yeah, exactly. It's like Sonic did not have a tabletop hockey game at that point. Air hockey, excuse me. And so it's stuff like that. It's the opposite. There's very rare times where I'm in a video game saying, oh, I know more than the people who made this game. I know better.
I think one of my big things in video games is when a character is somewhere that they shouldn't be, and I love how silly the merchant is in Resident Evil 4. How like you like finally get through that door, and then he's like right there. And I think they do a good job in that and setting up like that is kind of supernatural and weird and mysterious, but it's like separated from everything else. And I love open world games, and like I'm always seeing somebody, and it's like, what are you doing here? Like why would anybody just be here, like walking around? I love in Dragon Quest 11 when you set up a campfire, and like in some places there's just some guy there who's like, hey, what's up? You want to buy some stuff? And it's like,
yeah, in the freezing snow.
You were just here? And he's like, yeah, I'm just walking around, you know, like, well, all these monsters and everything, and I just figured you might want some mercweed, you know, if you're making something.
I think I vaguely remember some tricks in Tony Hawk being like, that's not what it's really called. That's not it. I'd have to play through it again, though.
That's a good answer, dude.
That's like all I could think of.
Damiani, anything before we move on? Huber?
Just cars for me, like racing games. Using my like bias, taking my bias into any racing game.
Need for Speed Underground.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, this Honda should be better than it is in the game.
Definitely.
Dude, that's funny. That's like Madden players being upset about their stats.
Exactly.
Pinode. Hello, allies. I've recently finished Octopath Traveler, and it left me with the feeling I have never experienced before.
Ooh.
Despite loving so many things about the game, such as the visual style, battle system, and music, I walked away with an extremely negative experience. The story and characters felt extremely flat and lifeless, and despite most of the other elements being near flawless, getting through the game ended up feeling like a chore because at the time, I did not care about what was going on. My question is, if any of you have had this experience with the game, having good elements overall, but one glaring flaw that ruined it for you, love and respect, Pinode. I will add something onto it, but you still feel that you're just compelled to finish it. You're like, I gotta, you know, I've come this far. Sure. It sounds like one glaring flaw. It sounds like Pinode has more than one glaring flaw, but yeah, I loved us talking about Octopath Traveler, and then Ian every now and then chiming in. It's like, why are you still playing this? And we're like, oh no, but it's fun. I like the world and the combat. It's good. But yeah. Any glaring flaws lately that burned you?
I gave up on Octopath too.
Yeah, I gave up on Octopath.
Same. I've gotten really good at just ditching games.
Me too. There's way too many good ones now to linger on anything less than a 10 out of 10.
It's 10 season.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so funny.
Ni no Kuni 2's easiness really hurt my experience with that game.
Did you beat it still?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
And I was pretty checked out, like halfway point to the end, just because it was so easy. There were no stakes. But yeah, it was just that, like everything else, I should really, really like that game. Everything else I really liked, but I think because it was too easy, it kind of just trickled down into every aspect of the game.
I'll tell you one thing about Bloodborne and just Souls in general. That like, man, I get so into it, and like the music is so good, and the atmosphere, and you like walk into an area and it's so creepy, and then just all these things jump out of nowhere, and like you actually manage to kill them all. I'm just like, oh god, and it's like super dark, and I just have a torch, and it's just I'm so like immersed in the world, and then I'll take like one step and I'll nudge a bad guy like a body, and it's just
flies, yeah. Classic
like,
physics.
One time I was at the top No, I was at the top or the bottom of a giant spiral staircase in a tower, and a bug, one of those giant bug creatures, was like hooked to my shoe the entire trip. So I'm just going up the staircase.
Yeah, just flopping around.
And I'm just like trying to stay immersed. I'm like, no, I'm a hunter. I'm in a nightmare right now. There's a lot of spooky ethereal stuff happening. Nothing's funny.
It's Miyazaki intent.
Recently, actually, there's a game that I should have quit that I didn't. Old School Musical is a game on the Switch. I think other platforms too. It's like a music rhythm game with a story, but there's like this bonus mode at the end that has 45 extra songs that just get progressively harder. And the problem is, if it was a list of 45 songs, I wouldn't have done it. But they have you traveling along a world map. And because of my Kyle brain, I need to see what's at the end of this world map. And so I played through basically 2 times the length of the game. And the levels get really, really hard and annoying. They just get so stupid just to see what's at the end of that map.
Was it worth it?
Doesn't sound like it.
No. But I think there's no way I would not have done it. You know what I mean? Like it was my pride at some point. My pride was on the line. So that happens for sure.
Damiani, you've been quiet lately. Any bails?
I mean, nothing recent. I mean, Final Fantasy 11 isn't a recent game, but I think it's obvious why I bailed on that, but that's not
No, what happened, dude? I didn't know about this.
I just got fed up with like
boring.
It's archaic. It's too hard to go back and play.
Yeah.
I got to a point where no one actively plays that game for old content. So the system that they made to try and get through content with the AI bots, battles get too hard. Like the AI you can't control the AI; it just does whatever it does.
Gotcha.
You can't overcome it unless you power level or not power level. You grind. I was like, I'm done with grinding in this game. Like I don't want to. Like I want to play the content, and yeah, no one was available to help. No one would like. There's no party. It's archaic. But I don't like. It's not the same boat as I think some of this stuff here. I'm trying to remember like a game I actually hard quit. There's games I like that they're obviously like one part of it that just suck. Like I've always loved Star Ocean's combat. Let's skip over the most recent one, but like 3 and 4's The Last Hope and End of Time were really good combat, but like the stories, especially in The Last Hope, are just really bad stories. So it's like I'm only playing this game because the combat is really good. That's turn out the story though. Like just doesn't exist right now.
Mikhail Aniel, hello, Easy Allies. Brandon is right. For the last Q&A, I asked you about your Shenmue 3 moments, and Brandon asked why I only mentioned Huber's reaction during Sony's E3 press conference 2015, and not Brad's reaction to the Final Fantasy VII remake. And of course, it was wrong of me not only to mention Huber. Sorry, Brad. To my question, it's only 252 days left until the EA E3 press conference 2019, EA Play. Are you feeling the hype, Easy Allies? Love and respect. I guess because EA kicks off E3, which is why we'd be excited for EA specifically.
Star Wars, baby.
Star Wars, we're gonna see it. Is it going to go down?
No.
Yes. E3 this year, Star Wars. I'm putting it in my notes for the pre-show.
Go like into like minimum to no hype going into
the Jade Raymond year, right? Kyle?
Yeah. No, sorry. This will be the Respawn one.
Okay, what's the deal with the Motive one?
It's weird. So Motive worked on Amy Hennig's, and they're working on the one that the other team's working on now.
Motive is working on the Respawn one or a different one? Two different games.
The different one, the one that's multiplayer focused. But I think Motive is also working on their own on top of these things. Motive is like a studio that started off just helping out people as they came to grips with everything.
Yeah.
But I think Motive has their own game in development as well. Star Wars or not, I'm not sure what they're doing.
Got it.
Let me look that up. I don't feel good like spewing out nonsense.
Spew it out, Kyle.
I'm excited about Game Awards, though, to be frank. I'm excited to see what the announcements those come out.
Dude, the E3 hype never leaves. As soon as E3 is over, the countdown for the next one begins.
Go.
But PSX also getting canceled leads me to believe PS5's coming soon.
Yes.
No, that's Damiani's take. It's a good take.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's a strong
Rumbling.
take.
Like 2019, I'm walking into a Best Buy and putting the PS5 box in my cart.
Your cart.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
You're
have a
just
cart.
gonna carry it.
Yeah, get out
Oh,
of
well,
here.
Huber's probably gonna buy a lot more stuff with
It's
it, right?
massive. He needs a cart.
Bossman, are we waiting for you to look us something up, or are we moving?
Yeah, so in June of 2018, so just a few months ago, Motive Studios opened a branch in Vancouver. So I think they actually took over the. I think they took over that Star Wars game, the Visceral one.
There it is.
This is crazy. Okay, so yeah, we won't see theirs. I don't think we're going to see their Star Wars game. And then BioWare Montreal became Motive in August of last year. So I think Motive is going to be a big deal in the next 2 years, dude. I think that's going to be a well-established studio. I think they're working on more than one game.
Nice.
Silent Consonant, hey allies. The Huber syndrome of PlayStation Vita has me reminiscing about my younger years when handhelds played a vital role in my everyday life, be it staying up past midnight on December 31st, 1999 with the Game Boy Pocket with lighted magnification accessory, Pokemon Blue, and a box of AA's just in case Y2K was real, or a few summers later sitting down with Game Boy Color and Oracle of Ages and Seasons. My only concern was finishing both before school started back up. If you can, share with me a time when a handheld gaming system was the most important thing in the world to you. My Switch is one of the most important things in the world to me right now.
Anytime there's a new
Love that
Zelda
thing.
on it, that's when it's the most important. So when Oracle of Ages, Seasons, Link's Awakening, any of those, that's when it's the main spotlight.
Huber, I couldn't beat Mr. Freeze for Batman the Animated Series on the Game Boy, so I called a hotline.
So jolly. Did they help you out?
I can't remember if I actually put it into practice. I was just young and not great at games.
So
But-
rad.
Yeah, I remember being stressed out about that.
It's the kind of thing, Jones, where they're like, okay, so you're going to have to jump onto the platforms above him. And as a kid, you're just like, you want to just pretend like you know what they're talking about. And you're like, yeah, okay, I got it. And I feel like exactly that. You hang up and then still have a hard time.
That's totally what it was. That's funny.
So good.
The DS was pretty essential to me, just because the DS lineup was really good, but also its backwards compatibility, so it can play like old Game Boy Advance games was like freaking awesome. Like I don't think even with like Switch and like 3DS lost the backwards compatibility with anything but DS games. I think since 3DS and Switch, the handhelds have come a little less like essential for me. But yeah, the DS, there were just so many good games that came out on DS, so many like RPGs as well. And then being able to dive into the back catalog, because I skipped a lot of GBA stuff. Like I wasn't really that big into GBA, and but having a DS, I was like, oh, I could just play this on my DS. This would be great. And it was I can remember just taking it everywhere with me, like more than any other handheld system.
My brother and I were obsessed with Game Gear. Took that thing everywhere we went, handed it off, played like the sick baseball game on there.
And
Sonic.
you were patient about like taking turns, dude?
Yeah, dude, because he would buy like these crazy accessories, like the screen magnifier
Uh-huh.
that you slam on it. Yeah.
Well, the crazy thing about Game Gear is your friend can't watch. The angles get really weird if you're like trying to observe.
Yeah. We would take turns. We were good about it.
That's a good bro, dude.
Good boys.
For me, I didn't have a Super Nintendo, and so or a Genesis, and so I had an NES up until the time of the PlayStation, until I got a PlayStation in '96. That's like 10 years of life with just an NES, but my Game Boy was my access to Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct. So like I got I still had a Game Boy this whole time, and so I was getting new Game Boy games, and so the Game Boy was super important at that time, where like I got to like be Scorpion and do Get Over Here like my friends were on their Genesises. But yeah, I think obviously I've loved handhelds my whole life, but I think that was the height of like when I wanted to like make my own fighting games, and like I was just so into owning this Game Boy and these very mature games where people just beat each other up. Felt so good.
I miss Street Passes a lot. And you can still do it. Like I can still turn on my 3DS right now and go get them, but I was just not as into that as I was previously. But like the Disneyland trip on a street pass was just the best, and like picking up kids from all over the world, and kids of all ages, I guess. But like I love when I would go back to Disneyland and it'd be like, "Whoo, I've street passed you before," and I would, like at first was like, "That's impossible," and then was like, "Oh, that person probably works here." Like that was probably I went by some employee locker or something, and they like picked it up through a wall, and that was like just probably in their backpack. And like that's got to be kind of fun as a theme park employee, just to like have your 3DS on you. I bet you just like ring them up every day.
And Jones, there's something kind of like a low key like culture about it, just because 3DS wasn't popular when it launched. And so there was this kind of cool like camaraderie with other 3DS owners when you would bump into them.
Like just getting a street pass in a different language just felt like prestige. It was like, nice.
Yeah.
I'm cultured.
You're right. Street pass was very cool. I miss that.
Sad that Switch doesn't have it, but it probably doesn't make sense.
And I don't think it'd work as well. You know what I mean? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't want to see a dozen Switch people wherever I go.
I'm going straight to the games every time I turn that Switch on.
Yeah.
John Santoro, hey allies, quick question for you guys this month. What are some of your favorite video game soundtracks and why? No Bloodworth, sadly. John's favorites are BioShock, Destiny, and the Uncharted series. Journey, got to throw Journey out there. Journey is just magical. And Final Fantasy VI, of course.
Mm-hmm. Dragon Quest VIII was one of my favorites. Beautiful classical music.
Really like the way Life is Strange uses music to tell their story. It's top notch.
Even when they use like the vocal tracks, dude? You mean those?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Top tier. Also love Assassin's Creed soundtracks. Usually.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You popping those in, dude?
I Spotify some like Ezio theme here and there, dude. Once
Really?
in a while. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's so
Ezio theme, dude. That's so
Really
funny.
cool. Yeah.
I'd love to see you driving your car blasting Ezio theme.
Parap the Rapper, Guitar Man.
Absolutely.
If I'm feeling really intense, God of War.
Yep, I remember that. I definitely remember you blasting that in your car.
Hell yeah. So epic.
Kudos to Spider-Man. I thought their score was great. I did not recognize the person who wrote that, but I thought that was very jolly.
So many good soundtracks.
Damiani, did you chime in?
I mean, I have way too many. I always just get excited about when I can first buy soundtracks for Nintendo games in the Power Supplies catalog. So getting like the Donkey Kong Country CD was one of the first. I was like, oh yeah, this is good. Also getting importing like all the Metal Gear soundtracks, this Metal Gear Solid stuff and Metal Gear Solid 2. Like I imported music before I started importing games, which was kind of funny. And then I like all the Final Fantasy soundtracks. It's like I love video game music, but I love companies that do remix, arrangement albums, stuff like that. Like some of my favorites are actually those and not the OG scores. Like a lot of the Final Fantasy music is great, but seeing the crazy stuff that they'll do with the remix and arrangement albums is really nice. Because like let's face it, like Final Fantasy VII's music is good, but it's all like MIDI like caliber stuff in the OG game. Like before like Advent Children came out and stuff, it was like, oh, it's good music. But then you got like the reunion album, which was like the arrangements. It's like, this is what the music could sound like if it was like done by an orchestra. I was like, oh yeah, this is good. And then, of course Advent Children comes along and it's like, yo, have you heard of the Black Mages? This band that does music for Final Fantasy, and it's the developers and composers. It's pretty good, isn't it?
It's way too many,
good, isn't it?
way too many good game soundtracks out there.
I love when stuff gets good. Matt Curran, what's up, allies? With the studio potentially on the horizon, I wonder what changes you're all considering to the podcast specifically. Will you bring back the TVs to add a visual option for the panelists? Will you consider moving the date you film to a more news-friendly day of the week? I don't know what day that is. Or just a time earlier than 9 p.m. at night? Is live streaming the podcast, like many other outlets and creators, being discussed to either draw more attention to it or relieve the burden of editing it late at night? Would love to know. Good change is in the horizon, and I can't wait to see how you all improve with the studio. Love and respect, Matt Curran, aka Hicar W, possibly. Yeah, we talked about some of this stuff. Kyle, it's your podcast specifically. Any of this you want to shine a light on?
Yeah, you know what? This is a Patreon show. I'll talk about some stuff. Is that like I want to make so many changes. I absolutely want to do TVs. A big reason why I wanted to kill off the desire index is that I realized like you do need to visually see it for it to be effective, and a whiteboard wouldn't work. Really, I would need to at least like edit it live with a cool graphic or have a graphic in there. And so, yeah, I think that could help the podcast in a number of ways. I would love to shoot it earlier. I would love to not shoot that at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. when everybody is tired. I would love to shoot it like earlier in the day, you know? I think that'd be cool. I think that, you know, the panelists, the people who are on that week would be more excited. The day of the week is tricky. I mean, it would change everything about us, but yeah, I kind of like Tuesdays. I really do. I like that that's a launch day for most video games. I think that getting us all together on Fridays is tricky. You know what I mean? I'm usually streaming Friday nights, but like most people like their Friday nights. Most humans want their Fridays to be away, you know, to have that break. And so I think it'd be hard for us to say, all right, everybody, we're doing the podcast every Friday, because your Fridays are toast for the rest of your life, you know? That was the main three questions. Like, what do you think? How do you think that it changes in the studio?
What about live?
Live is it definitely complicates things a little bit. I think it changes our vibes. I think that I kind of like it. You remove some low key aspect of it. I don't know. Sometimes you'll listen to a podcast that was recorded live, and you just get this different vibe of like how antsy the hosts are. There's definitely benefits to it, and it's so fun to do during E3 that it's weird that we only do it once a year. So I agree that we should do more live podcasts. I don't see it happening live every week. But yeah, I want to do a lot of those things. I really, really do. This is not an announcement for any of those things, which is why I was hesitant at the beginning. Is like, I can't promise a single one of those things will happen. We might still record at 9 p.m. on Tuesdays with 0 TVs, right? But I have definite ideas of what I would like the podcast to be like in a studio, to answer your question.
Thank you, Kyle. Cisco Ace Jackson Garcia. I saw in some reviews of Life is Strange 2 that people were thinking the political commentary and characters were overstated and overdone. From my perspective, I couldn't agree, seeing as I have no information as to what people are like out in the midst the wilds of Washington or even here in metropolitan California. I've been called a wetback and such other things. Huber, what are your thoughts on the political commentary in Life is Strange 2? And as for anyone else, general thoughts on politics and games in general? Let's do it. Especially games trying to be contemporary and talk about today's issues.
Yeah, there's one part of it that I thought might have been felt somewhat forced, but
is it a spoiler to tell us? I'm really curious, dude.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like one part where I was like, this seems a little forced, a little too much. But you know, when you're telling a story, whether it be in a movie, a book, or a video game, like things are overstated and you know, like accelerated. Things are accelerated to serve the plot. So I didn't really have a problem with it. It was a little jarring. That's what I thought about, but you know, it served the purpose of the story. Like I think of it as the same way as movies. You know, how can you tell a compelling story in a 2-hour movie? You know, you have to have these things that maybe feel forced in the moment, all to serve the story. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm into political statements in games. I think there's smart ways to do them and stupid ways to do them. You know what I mean? Like, to me, two video game characters looking at each other and going, Trump sucks, doesn't he? Like, that has zero effect. You know what I mean? Really, like, your messages you can tell messages through your game without being overt. I always like those. I also like finding an aspect of a thing. I actually really like this week's episode of South Park. It was absurdly dark. It was the necessary amount of darkness for where we are right now, and so like you can be like subtextual. You can tell it through the characters of your story without like forcing them to say words that those characters wouldn't say, or you can go like, I don't know if it's called like hypertextual, right? Like you can just go way far beyond what anybody would reasonably expect you to do in your statements. And that can also be extremely effective. But, you know, to waggle your finger and say like, this is my politics. It just like doesn't work in a story because you feel the writer more than you feel the characters. And that's usually my impression, not just in video games, but in TV and movies as well.
Yeah, with games having the ability to make decisions and like follow a story, you know, good or bad. I love having anything associated with that because it's fun to role play. It's fun to live in somebody else's shoes and make decisions on their behalf. I mean, look at A Way Out, and it's like those are not good guys. Like they're redeemable in some ways, but like you start off right off the bat, and they're in prison, and so it's like this is not somebody you know you would want to like take home to mom and dad, but fun characters to play as. Tim Mann, hey allies, if you were an NPC, what genre of game would you envision yourself in, and what kind of role would you play? Love and respect. I am on top of the archery tower in a tower defense game. You put me down, and that's me.
I'm sorry, Jones, repeat the beginning of that question.
If you were an NPC, what genre of game would you envision yourself in, and what kind of role would you play?
Okay.
Jones, I think you're cheating, dude, because you were actively getting to shoot something. Like you were kind of playable if you're in a tower defense game.
Yeah, the tower itself is playable. It's buildable, but you can't control like what I'm doing. You can like level me up and stuff. I'm assuming if no one wants to be a bartender, then I'll be a bartender.
Oh, that's a good one, Jones. Yeah.
That's good.
I'm a judgmental denizen of a city who's like glaring at you as you enter in because I'm judging you for your actions.
I want to be the tutorial trainer that you see in the very beginning of the game.
Nice.
Like the tutorial person.
Here's how to push.
Yeah. Come over here and swing your sword. You can break these boxes and find usable items.
I am a crestfallen knight in a Souls game.
Ooh.
Nice. I want to be the NPC who in an MMO who is mandatory for story progression. And you have to come to me, but everyone's trying to Zerg me because it's like the most important quest to do, and no one can get through. So you have to listen to my dialogue every single time when you like try and enter the instance, and it's like, sorry, we cannot enter you into the instance. And I just get to sit there and be like, oh, do you want me to repeat myself? Oh, you don't like that? Oh, come on back out and listen to me again. And there's like a long line of people, like people thinking, oh, let's make a line and maybe that'll make it go faster. And I'm just like, none of you are going to do this.
That is so specific, Damiani.
Yeah, it's a reference to something that happened in 14 at launch. I wish I could be that NPC. That was so good.
I'm horrified. I'm moving on. Jeremy Ferris, what are your favorite James Bond movies? I personally love On Her Majesty's Secret Service, GoldenEye, and Casino Royale, to name a couple. Yeah, GoldenEye for sure.
Top three will always be GoldenEye, Goldfinger, Casino Royale in that order.
Moonraker, I think, might have been the first Bond movie I'd ever seen. And as a kid, like Moonraker was the best. Moonraker, Jaws and Drax, and so good. Like he gets a cufflink thing that he uses, like a little dart. And like, I didn't realize that was custom to Moonraker. I thought Bond like always had that. I thought that was just like, at any moment, any version of Bond could just like dart somebody with the cufflink. Like, why not? Why have normal cufflinks from that day on ever?
I gotta say, I think I have very little familiarity with anything pre-Brosnan, you know, just the life that I've lived. So definitely Casino Royale. But I hear The Living Daylights is good. I'm like curious about The Living Daylights. I kind of want to see
many of them are good, dude. Dude, License to Kill, Timothy Dalton, like on edge, like off the grid.
Yeah, I should see some of the old school ones for sure.
I recommend From Russia with Love, Kyle. I just went through all of them, and a lot of them bleed together because they are extremely goofy. But that one is pretty good of the Roger Moore era, and the one with Grace Jones and is it Bowie? No, who's the bad guy with Grace Jones? I can't remember.
Odd Job.
No, it's gold.
I mean the actor. It's Walken. No, it's Christopher Walken. I want to say.
Oh, sick! Really?
Yeah, it's Christopher Walken and Grace Jones are in one. I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me right now. But that's
They're all bleeding Jones, like you said.
Like think of like how stoked Mads Mikkelsen was to just like play a Bond bad guy who cries blood.
Yeah.
He weeps blood.
It's so sick.
Same director as GoldenEye, Kyle.
Really?
Yeah.
Casino Royale?
Yep.
Man, you know what then? I gotta respect that director. I got like I got a youth vibe. I got a vibe of like a director who's been waiting to shoot a movie like this.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, he like 2 kind of soft reboots, you know?
Yeah.
So epic. Have you seen Goldfinger?
No.
Highly. What about Dr. No, the original?
Nah, dude, very little familiarity. If anything, it's like on TV and I get bored before it's over, you know?
Word.
Oh man, that's funny.
Damiani, Brad, any faves?
Same boat as Kyle. I don't know a ton of Bond movies, but I do love
Interesting.
Casino Royale.
Yeah, I've only seen all the Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig Bond films. I haven't seen any of the may have seen License to Kill once when I was like really little, but I don't remember it very. I just remember a scene with him on a highway in a big rig and something. That's about all I remember.
Yes.
That's all I remember is that imagery. I'm like, okay, I think that happened, and that's it. And in my mind, I always thought like, oh, James. Like I don't remember, but I was like, oh, didn't James Bond die in that one? And that's why I have to get a new one or something. I was like, no, that's not true. Unfortunately, like, yeah, most of besides bits and pieces of the old ones, like all of my old retro Bond stuff is informed by the Austin Powers spoofs and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's like my exposure to old Bond.
That's why GoldenEye is so good, because you get the scene with M, like Judi Dench's first scene, and it's her first day as M, but you're supposed to be thinking, I guess, the whole time that it's like the same Bond. I don't know, like what the deep Bond lore is, but I like that she's introducing herself to Bond, and so it's almost kind of like their first days, you know, where she's like, "I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur. You're a relic of the Cold War." Like, I love that scene. Simon Wallace, good news, allies. You've been put in charge of Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. What game?
Good?
Or
That's a
games
big mistake. Sega, don't do this.
Next, and what style will it be? Will it or they be 2D or 3D, platform focused or boosting focused, etc.? I know the obvious answer is get the Sonic Mania team to make another 2D game, but any ideas besides that on how to steer this hit and miss franchise to success? I think they're on a pretty good tilt right now.
No, we're making it 3D.
Yeah. we gotta
But
fix
that
it.
3D's got to work. There's got to be a way.
Yeah, there is. It's called Hand It Off to Koizumi's team, who makes the 3D Super Mario games.
Hand it off to them. They're desperate for work.
Make a good 3D Sonic game. If you can't do it, no one can. Here you go.
Mhm.
And let them go wild and see what they come up with. That's the only way to fix 3D Sonic at this point.
All of Sonic's friends are dramatically slower than he is. This is one of my demands.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good demand, yes.
Knuckles and Tails cannot be nearly
That's
as fast as Sonic. He is 3 times faster than the next fastest character. I demand this.
I accept.
Yeah.
This demand.
I want Santa Monica Studio to pick up a new Sonic. I want Cory Barlog to direct Sonic the Hedgehog.
You know what's funny is I feel like Corey would be down. I just get the impression like
that whale. I want that whale for 8 hours straight. I just want nothing but whale. I just want like it just your eyes cannot believe what the game is doing, what you're witnessing. I know that just seems impossible. It's like a Superman game. It's just there's no way we're never gonna get it.
Mm-hmm.
But it just blows my mind that we were close. That like the Dreamcast like kind of pulled off this just really jaw dropping experience. It really had nothing to do with Sonic for me. It was just like, wow, I can't believe how fast I'm exploring this world. I get like a little bit of that at SSX in parts, but just like,
I want to break the sound barrier like in Extreme G.
dude, Huber, let's make this story about that.
You can't do that
Break
much
the
though.
sound barrier.
Yeah, so like we need to lead up to breaking the sound
Story
barrier. I agree with
segments.
Brad. Yeah,
Love it.
that's such a good idea. That's like Sonic's goal.
Dude, anime arc. He's like
Yeah.
training
Yes.
in the woods and like trees are getting knocked over because
He gets close and he like breaks a leg, and so like you have a huge setback in the middle of the game.
Yes.
And he has a brother. And there's brother drama.
What color is his brother? Blue as well?
Yeah, he's blue. He's like he's a darker blue though.
Should be like green.
He's a darker blue.
Okay. Love it. Absolutely love it. Do they team up at the end?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
His
brother
Robotnik
pushes him.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic's he's not gonna make it. He's not gonna break the speed barrier, but his brother comes and pushes him in the back.
Yeah, takes the hit. Yeah.
Blast shit. What if Sonic actually like dies or is put into a coma? Let's just rip off Metal Gear. And like they tell his brother, you must become the next Sonic. Like it's like it is the only choice we have. And then like Sega officially acknowledges some of the some of the games are in like the Sonic brother universe. And like at some point Sonic will wake up from the coma and they'll resume the normal Sonic universe. There you go.
I want CD Projekt Red to make a Sonic game. Treat it like a big deal, like Cyberpunk, just with that kind of budget. Like immersive world with Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
No loading.
Do you have Witcher Vision? Do you click an analog stick?
Oh
and you
yeah,
see items?
it's Hedgehog Vision.
Okay.
Siri's in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Siri could actually be in it.
Mhm.
Isaiah Sanchez. Hello, allies. I want to know your reactions to the backlash that happened with the town's top 10. What were your thoughts? We heard from Jones, but I wanted to hear your opinions as well, since EZA consists of all of you. Love and respect, I Sanchez 1.
This is my kind of Q&A question. I like what. Let's just get into it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get into the reality of stuff. I love that.
Backlash.
Backlash.
So let me give my perspective on this. Because I was not involved with the selection nor ranking process of this, and so I don't get to criticize
That
it.
sounds
I do.
really mysterious. Can
I
you
get,
say
I get
why?
to, I get to slide in. I just wasn't there that day. I get to slide in my criticisms, but I know I have to do them softly because I don't have any right to. I said there's a lot of Zelda towns on here,
Mm-hmm.
and the team stood by it. They said, whatever, these are the best towns.
Yeah. There was
Yeah.
a lot of talking about stuff being like, that's a city. That's not a town.
Mhm.
True.
A lot of like finding that line in between stuff like that was tough.
So like, I feel like when I got to ask why Ding Dong Dell is not on there, because I feel like that is even the impetus for this list existing in the first place.
I feel like it was brought up.
I brought it up, but I think people said it looks nice, but what do you do there?
Yeah,
It's
Ding
like
Dong
the
Dell is
rebuttal to
like
me.
3 little alleyways.
See, yeah, like I was like, okay.
But Hubert, I thought you would fight for Ding Dong Dell.
I love Ding Dong Dell.
I don't even know what Ding Dong Dell is.
So Nino Kuni, it's like the town they use like the first Nino Kuni. Like you see it every trailer. It's just like the most best looking town still to this day in any video game.
So some of it's not just looks. It's not just story stuff. It's like I need to be able to explore this town.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is exploration to that. I mean, there's a whole sewer thing that you have to like unlock and figure
Oh,
out. how to
Hubert
get
hates
to.
sewers though. That would actually take away points.
Yeah. Is that what you wanted on there? Is that what one of the comments was? Like one of the main ones? They wanted Ding Dong Dell?
I think they wanted a lot of stuff. Like I think they
Mhm.
wanted like Skyrim stuff, Elder Scrolls stuff.
Didn't we have Whiterun?
3 from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's just wrong. I think whatever they wanted, I think 3 from Breath of the Wild is simply wrong.
They're so good though, dude. I can't imagine Terrytown not being on the list. I can't imagine Hatano Village not being on the list.
I can.
Gerudo Town for like
Hatsuno Gerudo, I can
payoff.
imagine, but it's a group vote.
Now Gerudo,
like-
I think
like-
is the best in the whole game.
See, like-
Actually,
Yeah, like, I mean, it comes up a lot, but like Terrytown, it's always subjective. But for me, Terrytown was about the adventure getting to it. It wasn't about the payoff for it. Because I guess when it was done, I was like, I'll be honest, people were like, "This is it. This is the town." I was like,
What?
I mean, it's nice that all these people came here, but like, this isn't very impressive looking. It's just
During-
kind of here.
Okay. Because they're all
Um,
boxes. I get what you mean.
Weirdo Town for me was
I
like,
love
there's like progression mechanics about like you gotta like do a quest to infiltrate it. You gotta pass yourself off as a Gerudo. You gotta get in there. There's
That's it.
but more to no. I mean, there's more to that. It was the first time in the Zelda series you actually got to see the Gerudo culture brought to life properly. They'd always been like depicted as like these nomads, and that's like not how they are. So it did like the most justice and the most backstory, most of their backstory brought to life. So I think that was like very satisfying and rewarding for a longtime fan. I could see how if you had no investment in that, Gerudo Town was just like, oh, it's kind of this cool quest to get in there and stuff. But after that, it's like any other town and stuff.
No, it's
And-
not. It has the hidden shop.
I
Dude,
will
how cool
say
is
Terry
Town's
Town
the best.
was awesome to me because it was the only place where everyone really came together from all the different races throughout Hyrule, and they made their own town. And there's stuff you could only get from there, like the Hylian Shield when it breaks. The only place you can get one in the entire game. Like I love Gerudo Town too. I'm with Damiani. The Gerudo, like seeing a town for the first time was awesome, but stuff had to get cut, man.
I can get it though, especially if you're just coming in and you don't even know who we are and you're reading this list. Like the context of from game trailers all the way here and like our little rules and regulations for the list. Like I can imagine being so pissed immediately. Onimichi in Yakuza 6 and Kamurocho not even on the list. That is because it is a town, not a city. So I'm sure a lot of people were upset just by that distinction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe next time we should do top 10
City
towns.
top 10 city, town, village towns.
City
or
town
something.
village towns.
Yeah.
I want to say though, in contrast to how I opened that answer, is that like that's what I like about the list. Like top 10 lists are stupid inherently, and so I like that Easy Allies truly believes that these 4 Breath of the Wild towns are better than in the top 10. You know what I mean?
But there's
To me,
one
that
Majora's
implies-
Mask as well.
Right. It implies that you're not counting them as like a list, as like this list to make everybody happy. It's not like this list is like a little entertainment package. It is designed as your top 10. You know what I mean?
Thank you for saying that, Kyle. Yeah, I remember even in game trailers sometimes we would like cut something. It's like, oh well, that game is already on there, so maybe let's maybe give it to the other one. Like if it's close,
Right.
If we're like 50-50 on one and one game already has an entry and another one doesn't, it's like we would lean towards the one that doesn't have an entry already. This was just straight up like, yo.
Yeah, these are the towns we were feeling at the moment the most. Like obviously that could change any day or whatever mood we're in, but that's kind of where it landed at the time.
And I'm glad you brought that up too, Brad. It kind of brings me back to, or brings me around to PC Gamer doing their top 100 games of all time every year, because it's constantly evolving. People change, lists change. Top 10 towns in the moment.
Yeah, it was in the moment. Like we could go back and do that list a year from now. It could be completely different.
That will be our yearly list. PC
I'm
Gamer
down with
does
it.
100 games. We'll do top 10
Top
towns
10
every
towns
year.
Every year, dude. Yes.
DRD 7 of 14. Greetings, easy brethren. Will we see a second revision of these classic consoles with a different selection of titles? What if Sony released little physical memory cards with bundle packs of games for the PS Classic, the PS Fighting Game Collection, the Launch Bundle Pack, the entire EA Sports Bundle, the Classic Platformer Selection, etc.? These little memory cards could be the physical release of these titles as like $20 packs that fit the aesthetic of the console. Being that they're USB, they could load them in before playing the game. I'd love to know your juicy thoughts, allies. Eternal love and respect. DRD 7 of 14. I do think it's interesting that they said these are 20 of the launch games or initial games or something when they talked about the PS Classic.
Mhm.
They
No
didn't-
way.
I'm talking about PlayStation Classic. Okay, I was completely.
They had a
lost.
weird wording of it. They were like, "This is the initial 20." And I was like, "What do you mean initial?" Like,
But there's no USB dock aside from the controllers, right?
right? Yeah. There's no Ethernet port or anything. There's no way to get anything in there. I don't know.
How's it powering again?
USB, I think, right?
Yeah, the power is USB
That's
as well.
how people will be able to jailbreak it. I mean, it will be. Like,
Yeah, Damian is going to have a European
Yeah, I
PlayStation.
was-
Yeah, European
European
PlayStation.
as well. Yeah, I do wonder why they don't ever, like, none of them, not just the PlayStation Clash, any of these classic releases don't have any means to sell an upgrade to them. I mean, it's so easy. I mean, they have to know how easy it is for people to want to do it. We'll just do it anyway. I mean, they still could make money off people who have like no interest in doing it that way. I just don't get why they don't like didn't include like one little like easy slot to be like, here, yeah, like you buy like a little like micro SD or SD card or whatever. Like, here is, you know, the sports package or whatever. Here's like volume 2 or whatever of these games, and just you put it in there and it expands it or something. I don't know. I never. That's money left on the table, in my opinion.
All right. I'm gonna have to keep talking so the camera stays on me. Okay. So you see HDMI, you see the USB power. What is that?
Oh, that's where you hook up the Game Shark. Like, actually,
Yeah, that's the Game Shark port.
Right.
Yeah, seriously, what is that for?
That's the
Do you not have
DLC
the
port.
original PlayStation? That, like, you pull that off, it's an expansion bay. You can hook up peripherals to it.
No, I did have an original PlayStation, and it did not have this little clip thing in the back.
Then you probably had a slightly different model. The original launch versions have a thing that pops off.
Really?
Yeah. I had to buy one specifically for using Game Shark on it.
I mean,
the newer ones, the ones after launch models had revisions to them.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, this implies to me that like they're planning some sort of expansions on this.
That's where you put the CDs in.
Huh. So anyway, the CDs just kind of fit in there.
Yeah, this kind of fit in there.
So yeah, to the person's question, I would love expansion packs like that. The launch pack would be cool. The RPG pack would obviously be really cool. If they come out basically with a package that has the dual analog stick in one of those packages, I would buy a classic.
Angelo D'Elia. Hey, allies. Our definition of video game genres usually revolves around new paradigms being introduced, getting copied into other games, and then we retroactively identify these and fit them into a single box. I'd like each of you to try and predict the new genre of video games that's going to be the most popular in 2025. Feel free to come up with something silly or something you'd legitimately find cool. E.g., verbal interaction simulator, a genre which through voice input analyzes your language and speech patterns to decide NPC reactions and thus define game states. Think of something like intimidating a suspect or interrogating a witness in L.A. Noire, but instead of button inputs, you mostly control the game by just speaking into the mic. Love and respect, Angelo. Yeah, that's probably where I would start. Like, in 2025, I could definitely see like Summer Lesson becoming its own genre, where it's like, this is just a person in a room. That's it. Like, it's an AI someone's built, and then you're just buying access to that AI to just talk to it.
Immersive open adventure. There it is. It's like an open world immersive adventure sim. It's gonna be nuts. You're gonna just be living in these worlds by 2025. It's gonna be like open world,
Jacked in,
just so jacked
VR.
in. Yeah.
I think the idea of creating like AI that just lives on its own is going to happen. This is 2025 though, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll happen by then. I don't know if I feel like 2025, the most popular game is going to be like Ariana Grande sing along. You know what I mean? Like, we have no idea like what new thing will pop up. You know what I mean? No one could have predicted Fortnite. You know, nobody could have predicted Battle Royale. I want to show you one more thing though, while I have the camera on me. Check this out. It is not labeled where that one little dock was. You see, all of these pieces are labeled. And then that little expansion bay, not even labeled. What's in there?
Sleuth, dude.
Sleuthing, dude. Live game sleuth.
This is crazy.
What's in there?
We need to ask Eurogamer.
Remember, this always happens for like a lot of the new consoles. What is that mysterious button?
And then most of the time it's nothing, right? Most of the time it absolutely turns out to be nothing.
Yeah, but it's fun.
I absolutely could see like some cool AI that reacts to you and reacts to itself, which I actually find more interesting. But
Milo?
I think in 2025 it's going to be a lot of the same franchises we have right now, to be honest with you.
Oh my god, yeah. There's going to be like a Star Wars game where you hang out BB-8 and it's like your AI friend.
Yeah, and I mean, like it'll be like Horizon 3. You know,
Yeah.
it'll be another Halo game.
Elder Scrolls 6.
Yep. Well done, Brad.
Brad Grenz, which of these is worse? When your cat decides to lay on your chest as you are trying to look at your phone when you are trying to eat ice cream,
That's
or
good.
when you're trying to play a game? Michael Damiani.
Wait, what? Wait.
Which
Lay
one's
on your
worse?
Stomach when
You're trying to look
watching
at your
and
phone
eating
when you're
ice
trying to eat ice cream. When you're looking at your phone and you're trying to. Oh, I guess these are separate. When you're looking
Yeah.
at your
Okay.
phone, when you're trying to eat ice cream, or when you're trying to play a game.
Oh, I don't lie down and try and eat ice cream. So
What?
I,
What's wrong
like,
with you?
How do you eat ice cream then?
like sitting up.
Ew.
What's wrong with you, dude?
No, I know. Gosh, sitting up eating ice cream. The revolutionary new genre in 2025
Must
for your
be a Texan
PlayStation
thing.
6.
I don't know how you do it in Texas, Damiani, but here on the West Coast, we don't play
I
like
mean,
that.
of all of the three of those, definitely. I mean, how most cats I think react to ice cream is they go bananas. Especially mine, they will just like try and get to it and nonstop like beg for it. They'll just be there going like "Ow, meow, wow, wow," like won't stop meowing like nonstop. And it's like it's my ice cream, it's not yours. And just like you're gonna look away for 5 seconds. And when you do, we are going to sneak there and we're going to get some of it. And there's nothing you can do. And you're just like, shit, that's true. I'm going to use as much as you can.
I have a sad story about regret. Do we have a minute?
Oh my god.
Oh
my God.
We have a minute. There's only 5 of us. Let's do it.
I used to have 2 cats. Sadly, they both are passed away. One of the cats named Smokey was like hands down my favorite animal that I've ever encountered, I've ever had. Had him for a really long time, really long life. This is the same cat we fed butter to once in a while, if you remember that story. But in my room, my childhood home, in my room, I would lie on my bed and the TV was like to the right. So I would have to like turn my entire head to watch TV. You know, it wasn't in front of me. So I'd have to like turn and watch. And he would come in some nights, like a lot of nights, and like claw around on my chest and like move in front of me. And I'd be trying to watch TV. So I would like I would always like try to move him aside. And he would usually get really annoyed and then just leave. And I like, now that he's passed away, I just regret not giving him the extra time and giving him those moments that he wanted to just hang out. And I was like trying to watch TV and I would just be like moving him. So that's all. I still think about that once in a while. Love that cat.
Smokey.
Play with your cats.
Play with your cats.
Give them the time of day.
Cats going after the food is the worst. Because like, yeah, Norbert will get up on the table while we're eating and just walk right up and be like, "That's great. Yeah, I'll try some of that." But I just loved. I used to go over to a friend's house who had a cat named Bubba, and Bubba was a big old cat, and Bubba loved chicken and vanilla ice cream specifically. I would like go to 7-Eleven nearby, and I'd get like a little pint of vanilla ice cream, sit there and snack on it. And I just love that like some like Damian was saying, like they meow a lot. Like some cats will like get up on the couch or like get up on the table. And I love Bubba would just put like one paw on my knee. Just kind of look up. I just love just that feeling of just like, hey, like it would sit there and stare at me for a long time. And then it would just be this real gentle, like, I don't know if you know this, but
That's
I
funny.
also like ice cream a lot. Hudson Bilberry, hi allies. Do you prefer a what you see is what you get approach to armor and equipment when playing games, or do you prefer cosmetic overrides, commonly known as transmog? Personally, I've always been in the camp of if your powerful item has context and good abilities, it needs to look like that powerful specific item. Thanks a bunch, Hudson. I'm definitely a what you see is what you get guy.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Quest XI doesn't do that, and it bugs me.
I'm in the middle. I'm right in the middle. I like both. I like transmogging and MMOs like World of Warcraft, but I also like the idea of searching this huge open world or whatever game it may be, searching a huge area, conquering some high level thing, and getting that rare piece of gear that looks the part. I like both.
It depends on the game. If I think the armor looks really dumb,
Yeah.
like
And I guess I mean that. Yeah, I mean the second option. I mean, if I put a helmet on, I want to see that helmet. Like, I want my outfit to be changing constantly as I'm leveling up.
it's like
That's
some of the WoW sets that were like the best look terrible. Like,
Sure.
I don't want to wear that.
That's how life is, dude.
Is it?
Yeah.
Your
Like
rating in Encourage?
I think of like Monster Hunter, like where the armor is directly related to what you just killed.
Yeah.
I love that.
But in WoW, a lot of times it doesn't look anything like it. You look
Hmm.
like a Power Ranger when you're fighting like Starship Trooper monsters.
But is there lore for why that armor maker would make Power Ranger-esque stuff?
That I don't know. But it looks very out of place. That's what I'm
Sure.
saying.
Okay, gotcha.
And then there's the middle ground is just having like a cosmetic equipment set where it's like this is the these are the slots that are giving you stats and these are the slots that are changing your appearance.
Mhm.
And it's win-win. Then you can wear whatever you want and have whatever stats you want. But I'm curious what Damiani's take is.
I mean, I like the trend recently. I mean, I hate games that they don't change how your character looks based on new gear. One of the biggest knocks I had against Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was Rex doesn't change how he looks based on the outfit. I don't know if the DLC changed that, but OG version, it's put on these new gear sets. And Xenoblade 1, it's like, oh, Shulk transforms his appearance based on that. That's so cool. So baseline, I gotta have that. You gotta like reflect what you're wearing. I do agree that like the best looking gear you should like have to like work or should feel like a reward. But I also don't like oh hey, here's some like, I guess in single player games it makes more sense, but yeah, like in an MMO, eventually they got to make new gear and stuff, and not all of it's going to always look great no matter what. It's just the nature of having to make way more gear sets than a single player game, and you might have liked how something looked. I think you should always have the ability to be like, I want to transmog glamour this chess piece because this one looked way better, even though it's not the most powerful one. But the thing about Jones said reminded me, like, there could just be like cosmetic slots as well. Like, I know not all of them fall into this, but like Super Mario Odyssey, like just having the different like outfits and stuff, like fun stuff like that. I know in Breath of the Wild it actually changed like your attributes, but there were some gear sets that all had like the same stats. So it's like, it doesn't matter which one you wear, just wear the one you think looks the coolest and stuff. And that was kind of a nice thing.
Any other takes? The main guy in the Dragon Quest does it like every now and then. Like I'll put an outfit on, and it's like this outfit actually makes you look different. But it's
If
like
you have the set, it does.
2%. Oh, okay.
Usually, if you have like the multiple pieces.
Oh,
Usually,
that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's a little inconsistent, but
yeah, it is.
moving on. Raymond Chow, hash browns or home fries?
Wait, what?
Hash browns or home fries?
Or home fries.
What are home
really
fries?
sure
Is
I know
like
what
French
home
fries?
No, they're just chunky.
I don't.
Oh,
understand.
like
wedges?
those
Like
really
steak fries, like
thick
wedge fries.
Steak fries?
No, they're not fries though. They're just chunks, like just chunks.
I
home.
don't really eat
Oh,
breakfast, so I
potato
don't
chunks.
understand this.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up.
Okay. Hash browns. Home fries are good though. My mom makes good home fries.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm on the hash brown train.
I like home fries actually. Now that I'm looking at this.
Me too. Hash
Yeah,
browns can
that's
get they can get a little buttery.
Butter it up. Give me the butter.
Oh,
For some
home
reason, I just
fries.
immediately think of McDonald's. I've like
Oh sure.
there's so many McDonald bags I've opened and been like hash brown. I didn't order. Well, like that's like one of the few times in my life I've ever had a hash brown. The unwanted Mickey D hash brown.
Bistro potatoes.
Ulf himself, hello allies. What are some of your most memorable introductions to games you ended up loving? For instance, I was introduced to Pokemon Red and Blue by my pen pal in New Zealand a year before the games came out here in Europe. He sent me floppy disks with an emulator and the games on them in the mail.
That's so high tech.
I remember being at a friend's house that I didn't usually talk about games with, but I knew he had an N64 and like he was a year older than me, and we were just chatting and he was like, yeah, and he's like, oh, I've been playing so much GoldenEye. GoldenEye's amazing. And I was like, really? And I'm like, I've been hearing good things about GoldenEye. This is like way after launch. I was like, yeah, some people are saying good stuff. And he's like, you haven't played it? He's like, you love the you love the movie, and he's like, let me show you one level. And he like brings me in and he boots up the jungle. And he's like, all I do is just play this level over and over and over again because these dudes like hiding in the trees and jumping out and everything's all foggy and there's turrets. I was like, wow, this is really impressive. I should check this game out. Just remember, like, it's one of my favorite games of all time. And I just love that, like, a random friend was like, check out this game. And I was like, all right. I don't know why the hell that wasn't on my radar. I don't know what I was doing.
And he just played the jungle over and over.
Just,
That's
yeah, he did,
so
yeah.
Interesting,
Love the
yeah.
jungle. I
visited
remember.
my brother. Oh, you go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Visited my brother in college one time, and his roommate had like NFL 2K game with Warren Sapp on the cover, and I'm a sucker for like having little homes that you can decorate. And in that game, you can like have your own room and like decorate it with like trophies and stuff. And I remember getting weirdly addicted to that game and played it way too much. It was on like PS2. It's like the only football game I put in tons of hours to.
I remember going to a friend's birthday, and he had an N64, and I didn't even know there was N64 at the time. I didn't even know it came out or anything like that. And he was playing Super Mario or Mario 64. I didn't know this existed at all at the time, and it just blew my mind seeing a 3D like Mario game. Like I had no idea any of this was out. I wasn't reading any magazines at the time or anything like that. So just seeing Mario, I saw he was like running around Peach's castle, and I was like, "What is it? Mario?" I was just blown away seeing Mario in 3D.
Wow.
For me, it's a lot of arcade games. I'm thinking of like just going to Chuck E. Cheese's and discovering there's a game with Ninja Turtles in it. Just how crazy that is, where there's just a cool side-scrolling game where you're Ninja Turtles. I think of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, just like being amazed by that game in arcades. And the Sega Star Wars game where you have just the one joystick.
Yeah.
I could not believe that game existed. I was so stoked to even like sit in that thing. It just felt like a privilege to be able to play that game.
A privilege. Any others, Damiani?
I mean, the one that's into the most is probably getting introduced to Metal Gear Solid. At the time, like I only had an N64. No one in my family had a PlayStation yet. So it was pretty much like you get like one console. The exception was like Genesis and Super Nintendo was the one time we had like two consoles in the house, which is surprising. But my friend, he like was like didn't understand why anyone cared about Nintendo 64 when PlayStation existed. He was like, "Oh, these games are like way better and stuff. Like, why do you play N64 games?" So I remember showing him Ocarina of Time and when it came out and being like, this is why people get excited about this, like for games like this when they do come out. And I remember his one thing about it was like, okay, yeah, it's kind of cool, but like the horse sound like horse galloping looks and sounds really bad. I was like, like you'd have better sound effects on PlayStation. I was like, okay. Anyway,
you invited
so
this person into your home and he says the horse sound effects are bad?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's the one thing he's
so funny.
Anyway.
That's the Kyle thing.
Yeah. So when I was at his place, he's like, yo, so like let me show you like what I think is like the best on PlayStation now. It's called Metal Gear Solid. And I'm like, okay, I've heard of this game. And just sat me down and he's like, let's play an hour of this, and like after an hour it's like, all right, this is pretty cool. I was like, I like both, but like I need this. And he's like, yeah, see? And I remember eventually when we got a PlayStation, like many years after it come out, I got to get like one game. The parents like, which game do each of you want? And I was like, Metal Gear Solid. And I remember like when I like they got it for me and they brought it back, and I was like, I get to finally finish this game. And like I didn't go to sleep. Like I started the afternoon. It was like next day, sun was coming up. My mom comes in. She's like, were you playing this all night? And I was like, yes, this is so good. Beat that game like pretty much in like one sitting. Could not stop.
Whoa.
I can't imagine that.
I was like, these bad guys' stories, they're so emotional and sad. It's like, I've never seen anything like this before. Oh my gosh, this writer's a genius. Oh, video games are so emotional. Oh. Kojima.
Varun Kachwaha. Both Kingdom Hearts games were the most important games in my life.
Whoa.
I got 100% on them with my sister, who isn't even into gaming. It was my first RPG, getting those treasure chests, beating Sephiroth on the hardest difficulty. Those memories I cherish the most. I have the same guide. I even listened to Utada Hikaru's music. I think some of my morals came from this game. It impacted my development as a person immensely. E3, Kingdom Hearts 3 in development. Here it comes. Here comes the tears, the jumping up and down. Here's my Huber moment and the dreams coming alive. Except the euphoria never came. This was my anti-Huber moment. All I had was a sensation of numbness, nothing more. I believe there came a point, subconsciously, where I began to resent the franchise. Maybe when the spin-offs were so close, yet so far away, never had the handhelds. It's gotten to the point that I don't even want to play it, or the collections, especially with all the other games coming out, like Resident Evil 2. I've never even played never played 1 before. Did you ever have an anti-Huber moment? Do you think I can ever fall back in love? Varen Kachwaha, sorry.
I was not ready for that turn.
Yeah.
No.
Whoa.
Emotional.
How could you be so
Where there's
heartless?
something you should be into.
Dragon
Because
Quest
you've loved-
9.
No, dude, that doesn't count. Doesn't count.
Yeah, it was
That's
a
cheating.
handheld, Huber. That's why
That's
you're
cheating.
out.
Yeah, that's cheating.
All right. Fear 3.
Ooh.
Okay.
It went co-op. Still never played it.
What I find interesting about this, though, is that like Kingdom Hearts 3 is still an ideal sequel, and this person is still checked out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause of-
from what I
because of the
played,
years
it's
in
like
between.
by far the best one.
Yeah.
Just took too long.
Yeah, the wait.
going on.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand that.
I think it happens a lot to me, and I honestly, I think it's really how you massage a message. Like Luigi's Mansion 3, I could have been screaming and jumping for, but it was the message was just handled so poorly. You know, I think that's a huge part of it. This sustained disinterest is interesting to me. Like you still have a chance to get into Kingdom Hearts 3, but you're playing RE2 instead. Which isn't a bad choice. It's not a bad choice. It's just, man, that one of your most important, your morals came from this game and you don't want to play it? Oh, that hurts me.
Just
I'm
play
hurt.
them.
I think this is also
Play
something
it.
that could change like very soon after launch. Once this game's available, and they try it for a little bit, and they're like, okay, I remember. It's hard to hang on to those things if you don't actually play these games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dragon Age, I felt that way, not as strongly as this, by far. But yeah, I'm still surprised I never played Inquisition, because I played 1 and 2 like 2 or 3 times. So it's just like I just loved that setup. But I don't know. Anything else? Going
I
once?
kind of feel this way with Pokemon Let's Go, where it's like I buy a Pokemon game every year, and like obviously I should like this game. It's my favorite Pokemon game in a 3D explorational world. You know what I mean? And I can't care less about it. I do feel that way about that game, actually.
Gustav Strombaum. Hi, allies. Do any of you have any favorite stream moments since EZA started, as in something that happened within a game? To start you off, mine is during a stream of Battlefield 1, shortly after that game launched, when multiple allies, I think Huber, Brad, and Ben, me, and more people from the community were fighting tooth and nail in a narrow corridor to get a capture point, which culminated, for myself at least, in me charging through a wall of fire on horseback with my sword drawn down that corridor towards the enemy team. That moment still makes me smile brings a smile to my face on occasion, even though Huber forgot my name user when he talked about it on podcasts later on.
Okay.
The stream was overall very fun time playing with multiple allies, even though, or maybe because, it was around 4 a.m. in the morning for me. Keep up the good work. Love you all. Love and respect from Gerzilla.
I remember that moment.
Moments.
Hell yeah, Gerzilla.
Yeah.
Hopefully get some of those in the next one.
I love so much because I watched it again and again and again after, but I loved when we had our first Vive stream and Amanda was playing some fantasy game and like a skeleton like jumped out of a coffin or something, and she just started freaking out and like swinging her arms around, and like none of us helped. Like we all 9 guys had the exact same instinct, which is to laugh. Like, and so I kept watching that camera moment of her freaking out and all. It's just losing it behind her. Like, it's just a very enjoyable imagery for me.
Man, one of the most recent ones I could think of is the Porky Pig at Easy Living.
Yeah.
Me just
Easy Living
coming
for sure
downstairs.
is-
Everyone's just super tired and just they're like, you gotta try this game. You gotta try it. And it's just the weirdest game and the Daffy Duck moment.
The screen.
Insane sound effects out of nowhere. I was like, we should have warned you about that. I'm sorry. It was nuts.
For me, it's a VR one too. It's me and Damiani playing Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes.
Yeah.
And we did like the longest challenge. I forget if it was like 11 puzzles or in 11 minutes or 8, but it was like the long one. It was the endurance marathon puzzle. And we got it with seconds to spare. That was so sick.
Yeah, that's right.
None of us overreacted. We stayed calm throughout the entirety, and we just got the job done. We solved those puzzles. Felt good.
What was the time that Damiani like BM'd right before he got the kill? Was that in the Smash tournament?
It's a Mario Kart 64.
Mario Kart
He got up and walked away.
culmination.
Yeah, he had the win locked in, and he knew it.
On tile, yeah, that was incredible.
That was the best.
Yeah, that's hard to top.
Robert I. What have been your personal Kyle feels himself moments?
Oh. That's a real
Kyle,
question.
I guess Kyle can't answer this. What have been your personal Kyle feels himself moments?
Is that like
It
a
might-
bragging moment?
Yeah, I think it doesn't mean me. I don't think they mean talk about me. I think they mean like you're in your own world.
Yeah.
When have you felt yourself? And usually it's for like a guess that you've made. You're on a podcast, you're saying this is going to suck, or this is going to really do well, or this is going to go like this. And then you turn out to be right. And then you feel yourself. One of the best calls you ever made.
I noticed like there's some times I'm annoyed after a podcast and like I can't remember what it was, but there was something that was some release date or something was on some console. Oh, it was Wolfenstein being the first example of voice recording. And I was so smug. When I listened to it later, I was like, okay, Jones, calm down.
Yeah.
Like,
You were smug. Yeah.
unless I am wrong. Who knows?
Anytime I won a betting special,
Yeah.
it was like the max, especially because I was playing such a dick character. It was like when I threw the Sluster Cup on the floor in front of Huber,
Changed
that
everything.
was like my favorite moment.
Yep.
And like Huber just playing along perfectly, just knew it was great. That's good TV, Huber.
Nice.
Huber, what was your best call, dude? When have you ever pointed at the grandstands and then hit a baseball right into them?
I don't know.
Dude, it's gotta be when Shenmue 3 came out, man, and you got the points.
Yeah. Is it?
Nah, because like, final bets aren't this is definitely going to happen.
But just like that feeling of like the results.
Onimusha, I think, a more recent one. I knew it was coming.
You were feeling the tingles of Onimusha.
Truly knew it was coming, like a remaster or anything or a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Knew they would get it.
I'm so excited about playing that again.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
That'll be fun. I waited just long enough.
Yeah.
James Vest, what is your favorite?
Wait.
Oh, that.
I need a Damiani one because I remember distinctly Damiani saying maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, that Microsoft was about to sell Xbox.
Yeah.
So
But
I need one example of Damiani being right.
I mean, the problem is, like, even when I'm told stuff, like, there's always a chance it could be not true. Like, people change stuff. So if we're going with that, the time I folded up the piece of paper and wrote and told you to open it up at the end of the press
I wasn't
conference.
there. I missed that stream. So
during the Xbox E3 press conference, we're making predictions. I was like, all right, I can't say this because, I was like, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen, but like, I don't want to say it and spoil it. So I was like, without spoiling it, I'm going to write it on a sheet of paper, fold it up. Here you go. And I told the panelists, please open this when you begin your post-show discussion. So it sat on there in plain view of the camera so no one could see if it had been moved or anything. And then they opened it up at the end. It said, the conference will end with Cyberpunk. And I was like,
cool.
There you go.
Way cool.
Not adding any information to the conversation, not helping out the production in any way, just proving he's right.
Gets to feel himself. Yeah.
That's all it does.
That's the point. Yeah.
It's the only thing that happens there. James Vest, what is your favorite guilty pleasure game? Minority Report for the Xbox.
Binary Domain.
Tenchu Z.
No, I'm not guilty. I like all my games.
Oh,
You're
stop.
guilty.
No guilt.
Yeah.
You're guilty.
The guiltiest man I've ever seen.
I'm innocent.
Innocent pleasure.
You
Yeah, I
proven
don't know.
guilty.
I don't know if I like play a game I'm embarrassed to play. You know what I mean? I don't know if I play a game where
I
like
mean,
you
I
wouldn't
don't
tell
think-
your friends about it.
I don't think any of us are really that
Yeah, there's
embarrassed.
no.
But, like,
It's,
it's more like, what's a bad game that you like?
yeah.
It's probably a lot, Kyle. Come on.
That I like, because to me, a guilty pleasure, you return to it too, right? Like that's like, because like I don't buy that you're all playing Binary Domain today.
Wet. I want a wet sequel, dude. Elijah Dushku, bring her back. I'm not even trolling right now. This is not a bit. Wet.
Don't
Let's
waste
go.
your power on wet. There's
Oh, I
other
do have a
things-
guilty pleasure.
You're right, Brad. You're right.
So yeah, dude, you
Bring-
have a
bring it back.
power. You have an ability.
Bring it back.
You have a great responsibility here. We're
Screaming right now.
It's
Wet
the,
2, dude. Game Awards.
Sonic Unleashed demo. That is absolutely my guilty pleasure.
Yeah, you love that.
I think I put more time in that demo than most games I've played through.
Damiani, guilty pleasure.
Oh no. I don't know.
Okay.
Fine.
I don't know. I can't say Super Mario 64 because you're like it's not bad.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
That's like my comfort game. I guess that's the question we got asked in the past. That way we've been asked this before. It's like,
Damiani's guilty pleasure is his European Super Nintendo Classic.
No,
But I
being
don't
guilty.
feel
That's
bad
just
for
a
that, so-
pleasure. Nothing guilty about that for him.
okay, yeah. Modded Smash Brothers
Yeah, it's a good one.
back in the day.
excellent. Quinn Gary. Hello, everyone. If you got inhaled by Kirby, what power would he get from you? Yeah. That's
Voices. That's it.
Nice.
Recruiting. He can then ask people for their power. He doesn't have to suck them up.
Power of persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
He'd get the power of context.
Yeah.
He would obtain the power of context. He'd find a natural explanation for all of the actions happening around him.
Mine is some kind of ranged filth, whether it's pistols or
bow?
bows. Yeah, pistols or bows or grenades. Kind of like every ranged weapon in the game. all at
Pistols,
once.
dude. Kirby with a pistol.
Yeah. Kirby with a 6-shooter.
Get the power of solo healing. Single-handedly heal any content in any game.
Oh man.
Nice.
The Kirby abilities that extend to other games. I love it. Straw Hat Ninja, greetings, allies. If you can only play one game genre for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? I would choose RPGs or JRPGs if I'm being more specific. They are insanely long and also my favorite genre. Probably our favorites. I mean, I could just play open world action adventure games and have a grand old time.
Survival horror in the vein of like Evil Within 2, Last of Us.
For the rest of your life, Huber?
Yeah, because those, like, I could play one every once in a while and just get my fill. Like when I go through The Last of Us, I feel like I just had a New York strip, you know? It
Bless
just
you.
it hits all the senses, all the emotions.
Right. It's like, would you choose New York strips for the rest of your life or a bunch of French fries for the rest of your life?
Mm-hmm.
I get the choice. I get it.
For sure, JRPGs. They're so long and there's so many out there.
I choose
Never run out.
JRPGs too. Me too.
Yeah, I do. MMO RPGs.
Nice.
Safe.
Get the social aspect.
Yeah.
They're gonna always be, or they'll be updated for a long time.
Yeah,
so
not
you can
forever.
keep getting stuff. So
You could play them every hour of every day for the rest of your life. You wouldn't need anything else.
maybe they can do something different with them. Maybe they throw in like race car mini games and stuff. So like, oh, that still counts. It's a racing game, but you know.
Damiani, I remember going into the mines outside of was it Bastock, and just like going mining, and was like, oh, this mini game is pretty fun. I was like, man, I'm never gonna need another game forever. I was just like so fascinated by MMOs when I first started playing, and then it was like, no, these can get old pretty fast. But for like a couple weeks, I was like, wow, this is what a weird concept for like one game to contain so many other games and have that social feature.
I said, yep. What a concept.
The official theme of moving on. Caesar Villa, hello allies. Same text as always, just different system. I want to build a gaming music library, and I'm counting on your wise input. I'll be using the following months to gather your favorite video game scores, as in music tracks, not high scores from all time. Since we are dealing with over 30 years of gaming history, we'll be focusing on different console every month, but don't just think exclusives. Multi-platform games count. Also, this is not a debate. We don't want to narrow down. We want to expand. If 5 games pop into mind, don't choose. Just mention all of them. Be risky. Be wild. This month, the PlayStation 2. What are your favorite soundtracks of that system? Love and respect, Caesar.
Persona 3, Persona
God of War.
4, Dragon
God of War.
Quest 8.
God of War.
Rather solid
you guys
2 and
just
3.
said.
Final Fantasy
Everything
9.
You guys are saying.
That's PS1, Jones.
But
Sorry.
I'd have to,
Well, and 12.
So yeah, 10 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
You put 11 on there. That counts.
Yep, that counts.
What about damn, all of them had mostly licensed music.
Oh, Kingdom
SSX.
Hearts, all those.
Get Guitar Man on there, as mentioned earlier. We need him.
Absolutely.
Any
Katamari Damacy.
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus.
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys are nailing it.
What about the Jack and Dexter stuff? Isn't that good? I don't know.
I don't know.
Don't do it.
It's fine.
Fun, just not like that memorable.
All right.
I can't recall it right now.
Oh, did we say Devil May Cry?
We
May
did not.
Cry.
Get him in there.
Metal Gear Solid 3.
Great pick, Jones. You got to have Snake Eater on there, right? Like,
Yeah, gotta have
wouldn't be
Snake Eater.
complete.
That song still cracks me up.
Any fighting game stuff like just Tekken on there? There's
Tekken 4 is interesting. Go for it. Listen to it and see if it belongs in your collection for sure.
some of the Disgaea games. I don't know how good their music is.
Disgaea. Yeah.
Any of the Hitman stuff have good music during this era.
And Grand Theft Auto was all licensed, so doesn't
Doesn't
really count.
Doesn't count?
Oh, both Castlevania games on there.
Oh, yeah. Those PS2 Castlevania games.
Lament, especially. Lament of Innocence is a really good score.
Xenosaga games have good soundtracks. I don't remember. There's so many sports games. Oh yeah, DDR. Any of the DDR games that were on the PS2.
I actually like the Sly games. I think they have good soundtracks.
Any of those Mortal Kombat games like Deception and Deadly Alliance have good music right now?
It's been way too long since
Yeah,
I
I
played
can't
those.
think.
Odin Sphere, Vanillaware.
Ah, I
Ian
can't
would
remember
want
the music
Silent Hill
now.
2 on this, probably.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
Downhill too, yeah.
Silent Hill 2's got to be on the list.
I forget.
I think
CVS 2.
I think we hit them all.
Yeah, I like spending a little time with this one, especially if Dominic looks like you sound like you got the top sellers list up or something.
Yeah, I got 2 lists open, just making sure.
2 lists.
Star Ocean's music's been like okay. It's not like phenomenal.
I
It's
think we got like 20 to 30 suggestions, though.
Yeah.
Christian Thomas. Good day to all you cheerful chaps of the council. On the heels of the saddening closure of Telltale Games this week, there has recently been an interesting update. Rumor has it they've been secretly working on a new property that they've been keeping under wraps, and it just so happens to be the last TV show movie you each have individually watched on Netflix. Okay. So my question is, do they have a new bestseller in production, and are Telltale saved? Till next we meet, I wish you all the best, Christian Thomas. To my darling Clementine, it was a pleasure to be part of your journey. It was the last TV show or movie you have individually watched on Netflix. Are you ready for mine?
This is only Netflix. Okay.
Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor, man. It's
Ouch.
super funny.
Wow.
Okay. Sorry, this is Netflix only, right?
I love that there's this love triangle between Ben Affleck and, it's not Kutcher. Who is that? What's this guy's name? It's the guy from
Hartnett, Josh
Hartnett,
Hartnett.
yeah.
Josh.
And
Josh
Affleck. And it's just like Kate Beckinsale. It's like, who cares? It's Pearl Harbor. Why are you going so in depth on this like relationship when it's like one of the most
So
pivotal
dumb.
days in the history of the United States is about to happen? But it's like no. But Ben Affleck though.
There was a great quote Jones about that movie from Elijah Wood when he was being interviewed about one of the Lord of the Rings films at the time. And he's like, it's just like he basically said he called Pearl Harbor a shit movie in an interview for Lord of the Rings.
Terrible. What was the movie that said "I love you as much as Pearl Harbor sucked"? Was that Team America? There was a song called "I love you as much as Pearl Harbor sucked."
I think that's what it was. Is Pearl Harbor sucked?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
There
that
you
was
go.
it.
What was the last thing you saw on Netflix, Damiani? Dragon
Maniac.
Prince? Oh, there you go. Okay, well.
Yeah. That would be that'd be insane. I think that'd be good, but sadly, that's depressing to think about.
The Good Place.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but you're watching The Good Place, dude?
A lot of
Love
decision
The Good
making in that.
Place.
Yeah, Good Place is solid.
God,
Yeah, just
love
Huber
it.
hates comedies. This rules.
I'm picky about comedies.
I'm so happy about that, dude. I'm glad you like it.
Kristen Bell, dude.
Yep.
Best in the biz. And Ted. I love Ted Danson too.
That's two best in the business right there.
Yeah.
Good Place is a hard show to put down. When an episode's done, you're like, all right, well, I got to watch the next one now. You know, like they cliffhanger every time. Like,
Yeah, it's one of the few where I feel like the chapters are earned. It's okay for them to call each episode a chapter because it does. The story does move forward. I really like that.
Season 3 was like 2 nights ago. Premiere.
Yep, it's a 1 hour premiere, dude.
Sick. Got it taped.
Probably do Saul first, though. Do a little Saul before that one, maybe.
Oh, I caught up.
Brad,
Oh,
last Netflix.
We'll talk.
Is like the last thing I fully watched? Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
Well, I didn't finish Pearl Harbor, but it's the last thing I
Okay.
watched.
The last thing I just checked up on real quick was Naruto because I saw it said new episodes. So I checked it out real quick.
Wait, Boruto, though, right?
Naruto
it's
game.
just Naruto.
Oh.
Yes, dude. Telltale Naruto game, dude.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3 for me is the last thing I saw on Netflix.
Oh, all right. We all had to. You just
Yeah.
got it. It's one of those things you're like, it's not going to be good, but I got to watch it.
Well, Joe's, I was talking to chat during a live stream, and I told them I would rather watch Spider-Man 3 than the 2 new Amazing Spider-Man movies, and they said it's on Netflix right now. Like, that was luck, dude. That was serendipity.
I love that. Kind of funny. Just reviewed the Spider-Man games, and Tim Geddes like live was like, "Hey, Jones, what is your favorite Spider-Man that's not Homecoming?" And I was like, "Oh, probably Spider-Man 2." Like everyone in the room was like, "You're wrong." Like, if you go back and watch that trilogy, it just apparently doesn't hold up. Apparently, Amazing Spider-Man gets the silver medal of Spider-Man films, but I don't know. I remember that having a lot of problems too.
Yeah, I'm cool with people saying that the Raimi movies aren't as good as people remember them as, but the Amazing Spider-Man movies are like truly bad movies.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a very bad movie.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Really, really bad. So Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Oh, those are all bad Telltale games. I'm glad that's not happening. Carl Williams. Hey, Elias, since my long post is making Patreon lose its mind and it keeps deleting it, I'll make this short and sweet. Yay or nay on wedding proposals made via video games?
Nah.
If you could use a video game to propose to your current wife, girlfriend with a 50% chance of them saying no and rejecting you, would you still do it? And which game would you use? Love and respect, Carl. No.
No.
Real life.
I think this is a no across the board. Damiani?
Nope.
No.
No.
I kind of like, I hate the idea. I think about it sometimes of like just this, like, I'm showing you I can't imagine being that person who's just like, look, I'm waiting for this moment to happen. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for the doves to fly out of this box or something like that. When like a wedding proposal should be a conversation. You should be making eye contact. That's crazy to me.
Oh, just stand over here. Just wait 1 sec.
Yeah.
Speaking of Spider-Man 3, there's a horrible scene in that with they're wasting Bruce Campbell's talents on this dumb proposal scene.
No, I think he was well utilized comedically there.
It's just not a scene I care about. That is
That is the only good scene of Spider-Man 3. That's my favorite scene. Dude.
Sandman.
We got to talk about that scene. I think it's really good.
The early Sandman stuff. Sandman first forming is so cool. Like, and you can tell like it was going to be a Sandman movie, and it was just like, oh, here's this awesome Sandman origin. And they just shows up at the end. Remember me?
Yeah. It's like, hey,
No.
2 hours has gone by.
I was in like 3 scenes. You thought you killed me when I fell into water. Remember that?
Jones, how soft is that though? Because like Sandman is just like,
Bloodworth.
Because John Sandman is like, yeah, it was actually me who killed Uncle Ben. Like, that's so soft, dude. And like, it's also so soft that he's just like, yeah, I'm just trying to raise money to help my sick kid. There's no reason not to like it.
That was the lore, dude, that he killed Uncle Ben.
We got the guy from the first movie, the guy with the white tits.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's trash. It's trash to like pull him in like that. And then, they hand him the folders. They're like, hey, Peter, we actually found out that the actual person who killed Uncle Ben is this guy. And then it's like, he gets a little folder. Like, don't play around with that. You know what I mean? It's more important to me that the person who killed Uncle Ben is a random thug than it is somebody who Spidey has to face off with in a superhero battle.
I was proud of myself that even at 10 years of age in 1989, when I saw Batman with the Tim Burton, I was like, this is amazing. This is the best score ever. I love everything about this. And they were like, the Joker killed his parents. I was like, okay.
Yeah, Johns, exactly, dude.
That's a little unnecessary, but hey, you do what
so unnecessary.
You're like 10. I was like, but anyway, Blood, we only have like 3 more, I think, Blood. We're actually going to get through all of them. But so I'm glad you're here just for the last string.
Blood, what's the last thing you saw on Netflix?
I don't have Netflix, so I don't know. Jessica Jones at the party when it first came out.
There you go.
That's a good Telltale series.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you feel about proposals in video games?
I can't think of many. What?
Well, Spider-Man is infamous. Is probably where it's got in his head.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I haven't got to do that yet.
No. Like Blood. The concept of asking a developer or being a developer yourself, putting a proposal into the game, and having your SO play up to that point, and then get to read that, and then you turn to him or her and say, "Huh? Will you?"
Good sell.
This is a bizarre question since it just came from an engagement. So, I mean, I think the problem with the Spider-Man thing is that it just was a guy, like random guy online. They didn't know the guy.
Yeah.
Like if you have much better relationship with that person and the other person and know everything that's going on, it's probably a much easier, safer bet.
Yeah, like maybe the Destiny 2 thing with Rami Ishmael is like cooler. I think that might be like a cooler instance of how to do that. But yeah, I don't know.
I think it might work better too with something like an MMO or like something where it's like an event where you can have like people join in. Otherwise, you just get a bunch of people that see this and like, what is this? Yeah, they don't even know what it's there for.
Shadow 2222. This month, I'm curious about your music tastes. Brad and Huber mentioned Children of Bodom.
Yeah, Bodom.
And Sonata Arctica in an episode of Huber Syndrome, which I thought was very cool, as both bands are underappreciated. Are any other allies into metal? Do you guys ever listen to music while you're playing games, such as a racing game? Yeah, I very much like Metallica. Anthrax is also cool.
Blood goes to metal concerts.
Blood, do you play other music when you play racing games?
Not usually. Yeah. I did when the first Xbox had that feature. I loaded a whole bunch of CDs into my Xbox and like had that play in the playlist for like Burnout 3.
What CDs, dude?
It was. I'm trying to think of it. Like the funny thing is that the one I remember for sure was a blues guitarist I used to live with. So I had his stuff in there.
It's cool.
But yeah, I can't remember anything else in particular that I had on there.
But yes, I like metal. Huber knows some too, from association.
Yeah, it's all through you.
In Sephirum. That's the guy that froze to death, you remember?
Wait, what?
There's this metal, this guy, he like made this whole metal album by himself.
Dude.
And he froze to death going to like a family cabin or something.
So crazy.
And then they found his music in the cabin and put it...
No. It was before that.
Oh, okay.
But like he made it before that. But I just remember telling Huber that story.
That's pretty sad, man.
What a metal death.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Metal music makes me anxious. I don't like double bass drums. I just can't chill out to metal. I cannot.
Yo, Kyle, I would love to do a deep dive with you. To give
rattles
you all
me.
the genres. We just go through them.
We'd have to like start easy. We need like baby
so
steps too.
much metal out there.
But we need like slow and easy to get into it.
Oh yeah.
You can't toss me into the hard stuff, man.
Oh no,
'cause
no,
it
no,
just-
no.
It's an acid pit.
I would never take you to the deepest pits.
Okay.
I'm also a fan of Dream Theater.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like a good fantasy. Like I bet playing a Zelda game with some Dream Theater would be pretty sweet. But I never do that. Yeah, I might put a movie on in the background if I'm like grinding in an RPG or something. But very rare. I listen to music aside from the games. Kyle, I got one for you.
Okay.
David Lee, aka Zatvendut. Hi, allies. How do you imagine the Pokemon Chancy feels like to touch? Perhaps smooth and fuzzy like a peach, or silky like a dolphin? Thanks for your time. Love and respect.
I always thought silky like a dolphin.
Oh,
Chancy, huh?
I imagine kind of rubbery.
Yeah, I was thinking like a balloon.
Yeah, think like balloon. Think like she's egg-like. But I don't think she's hard, and so I think think of like she's not going to squish too much like a balloon would, but I do think I feel like a kind of rubberiness. She's also like a medical Pokemon, right? And so like think of like a doctor's wearing gloves and how that feels. And so I don't think like you want to. Yeah, I don't think you want to snuggle with a Chansey. You know what I mean? But I don't think it feels coarse. I don't think it feels icky to touch a Chansey.
But if you hug it, you'll make a bunch of like weird, awkward squeaking sounds just from rubbing it.
Chansey's got that egg. So you think that egg's really snug in there? You think that's kind of wrapped in like a half of a balloon, just like, you know? Right?
Yeah, I don't think it's tight. I think you could snatch that egg if you wanted to.
Oh no. Okay. But how could you?
How could you?
O'Million, hey allies, do you have any games you always come back to? Kind of pertaining to our guilty pleasures thing. I love all the new releases and the overwhelming volume of games, but I always seem to come back to playing a couple games of Overwatch with my friends or trying a new deck in Elder Scrolls Legends. Love what you guys do. Love and respect.
I mean, I keep my 3DS around. It's still plugged in with its charger over there because it has Tetris on it for sure.
Yeah,
still
Fortnite,
playing my 3DS.
Probably put on that list.
Fortnite.
Worth mentioning Fortnite single player mode, Jones.
Skyrim. I seem to play Skyrim once a year somehow, some way. Like played it again for a top 10 and then played it the year before that because it was in VR and then was like tempted to get it on Switch, but it was $60. Like, okay. Still playing Overwatch, Brad?
No, I haven't played in a long time.
Yeah, I don't know that I have anything long term. I mean, I popped into Onrush for a good while after I was, quote unquote, done with everything. But I did check out the ranked mode the other night. But I haven't got to the point where I would say that I would just habitually keep going back to it.
I do check-ins with WoW throughout the years, I guess. Once a year or so, I'll just check in, see what's going on.
I said Super Mario 64 earlier, so same thing. Yeah.
Wait, do you really go back and play that? Every time you go back and play it, I see you complain about the controller.
What?
Every time I've seen you play Mario 64 without a Nintendo 64 controller.
Yeah, I'll bring it up because it's not flawless.
But you're still playing the game?
There is one thing I do need to do. I do need to eventually play Super Mario 64 with this sucker.
Unwrap that. Let's see that baby. What is
what?
This was I didn't kickstart this, but it is a
Is your
Kickstarter
camera
project.
mirrored, dude? Because it looks really super
Oh
weird.
yeah, I think my camera might be unmirrored. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Is retro showing? I can't see. Yeah. No, I don't think it's mirrored.
It's definitely mirrored. The words are backwards.
For us, we see the D-pad on the right.
No, my fan's back this way. That's right.
Wait.
No, that's definitely correct. It says Retro Fighters.
I look backwards to me, so
That's very backwards.
Oh, on my camera, on my screen, as I'm seeing it, it's not backwards.
Got it.
I don't know what's going on.
There's a button there that says Obrut.
can we please troubleshoot this for the next 20 minutes?
No, this looks sick though. That's a cool looking controller.
But anyway, yeah, they made a modern version of the
Spin it
N64.
around.
Made a modern version of the N64 controller. The buttons all feel like pretty good. But the analog stick is the big difference. while it has the 8 gates still, it's not the stick. It's more of a nub thing.
Tell me about that
That
D-pad.
looks like a GameCube thing a lot.
Yeah, it looks like GameCube, and then like the D-pad. Yeah, it's pretty. Having the D-pad and the analog stick on the same side, and then not having the middle thing. And then they do. All they did was they made like the ZR or L and R buttons are like the same thing, but they just made 2 Z triggers. So either one does the Z button. So they just added one to make it, instead of it being in the middle.
I see 2 start buttons.
Huh?
2 start buttons.
There's turbo and clear.
Turbo.
I'm not exactly sure.
Turbo.
I guess turbo and clear turns it off, or clears off a button being on turbo.
How much?
But I'm interested to try this with Mario 64 just to see how it like feels using this, because
You should stream that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
How much was that?
Like it was $30. So
That's way cheaper than I thought, dude.
yeah.
Because that Duke is like 80. That's such a good buy.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, if you stream it with that controller, you need camera on the controller.
Yeah, I don't have 2 cameras though, so
Better get one.
I have to do it at the garage.
Yep.
I like to come back to this game right here. I don't know if it's gonna pick it up, but it's just I like this game right here with the Star Wars characters. They're all fighting each other. Yep, won that match. Moving on to the next one. Boom! Look at that. I got 2 different Rays on that team. I got like episode 7 Ray, episode 8 Ray, tearing up some robots on Geonosis, just ripping him up. That's not Geonosis. What's the ocean planet? Not Geonosis.
It's called Kashyyyk.
It's not called Kashyyyk.
No,
No.
fuck Kashyyyk.
Yeah, it's called Kashyyyk, the ocean planet.
You're fired. Hello, allies. Dan Allen says, what is your favorite Muppet puppet creation of Jim Henson and Frank Oz? I've always been a big fan of Henson and Oz. From growing up with Sesame Street and many Muppet movies, Muppet Christmas Carol with Michael Caine is one of the best for me, all the way to Yoda, Labyrinth, and the weird masterpiece known as the Dark Crystal. Was wondering if any of the allies had a secret love for these weirdly lovable puppets. Love and respect. I don't want to monopolize this, but Jim Henson's just a massive, massive influence for me. Yoda's probably my favorite thing that he's created.
Grover is God tier.
Grover's amazing. Super Grover's transcendent.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar the Grouch.
Yeah,
God tier.
10 out of 10.
That's
That's a God tier
for sure.
pick, Huber.
Yeah, it is actually funny. It's easier for me to pick one out of something that's not Muppets related specifically. So like Big Bird or Snuffleupagus, both are pretty crazy.
Those count. Blood,
Yeah.
those totally count. Big Bird is God tier. Rolf is God tier.
I love
The
Oscar.
first Muppet, I believe.
Or no. What? I just forgot his name. With the blue dude with the nose.
Gonzo?
Gonzo. Yeah.
Gonzo. God.
Gonzo's B tier, but yeah, he's still good.
Oh,
B-tier.
dude. I love Cookie Monster. Just simple premise.
God
Does
tier.
it well every time.
Yes.
That gif of Cookie Monster with a gigantic cookie, and he's like,
Yeah, like that's all you need, man.
so good.
I love how so many Muppets belong in God tier. They're all so good.
Yeah. Did anybody see the new one?
No.
Which what?
Happy Time Murders.
That's not.
Oh,
that's not.
that's-
Dude, that's not the new
no.
one.
Yeah, that's
That's not Muppets.
I mean, it's Jim Henson's son directed it. I
Yeah.
consider
Wait, really?
it canon. Yeah.
Because
Straight up
all I
canon,
saw,
dude.
I saw a tweet from Elise where she's like, "Hey, I realize that like, a lot of people think I would like this movie, but those are not Muppets."
Word.
Right.
I
Yeah, I know it's its own world, but it's still Jim Henson's
didn't
son.
know it is his son.
I thought there was like a whole thing against that. So I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not an expert.
I saw
He's
a trailer and it was hard out, and that's it. So
Yeah.
it just looks kind of dumb. Yeah, the humor didn't look like my kind of thing.
Yeah, I think like that doesn't register. I think like this would have been like huge in like the 80s or 90s, but now like Muppets having sex and swearing like doesn't impact us at all. You know what I mean? It just doesn't touch us
Yeah.
anymore.
That's lame, dude.
We're past it. Yeah.
First time I ever saw Kermit the Frog do anything was on Sesame Street. It's like for many years of my life, Kermit the Frog was like a correspondent on Sesame Street. And it was like somebody was like, "Oh, bring Kermit in." And I was like, "I love this guy." Like hadn't seen the Muppet movie, didn't really have any like frame of
Yeah.
reference. And then
Actually-
Muppet Babies changed everything. That was like that was
Yeah,
gospel for me.
Muppet Babies.
I watched any animated show on television that it opens with Raiders of the Lost Ark and Star Wars. Let's do it.
I think one of the most amazing things to me is just seeing them ride bikes.
Yeah, Manhattan. They're all
Oh
on
my
bikes
god.
together. It's like, how the hell?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, so good. Good stuff. And one thing that's been fascinating is, like they talked about if Bert and Ernie are gay. That was like a big topic recently, and like people were debating that. And Frank Oz is on Twitter, and Frank Oz came out and he was like, no, like I made them, like they're not. And it was interesting seeing like a lot of his fans be like, well, yeah, I mean, you made them, but like these characters can live on. And it was interesting seeing him kind of grow and accept that and just be like, okay, like on one hand, both of these truths can be the same, where that's not what we intended. We created it, but it's become something that represents something for certain people. And that's great. So it's like interesting to see a creator kind of go through that process.
Yeah, to me, their dynamic is funnier if they're just roommates, because you don't have that aspect of romance to fall back on. It's just like, really, why are they sticking together?
Like Odd Couple.
Yeah. If they're in a physical relationship, then it's less realistic that they're going to leave. Whereas like that was the humor, where you're always waiting for that moment. Bert's like, I'm out. I just can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. One more, and this is a deep one. We can we're a little bit under 2 hours considering we started late. Corey Jackson is ending with a doozy. If you could create a Nintendo MCU, how would the first phase go?
Oh man.
Gotta have origins.
it'd have to be
Start
Mario
with Mario.
Before we start, though, you're right that you have to start with Mario. Before we get into this stuff, I need to know who's in. I need to know if we're... Sorry?
Just in phase 1, who's in?
How many were in phase 1 of MCU?
Mario, Zelda is the Captain America. So you
That's
like
what I'm saying. Are we putting Zelda in the Mario universe for
We
real?
have to.
Yeah.
So this isn't just
Link
Mario
is the
characters
Captain
like Mario
America.
Party.
Link's
Oh,
Captain
you're
America.
putting-
Phase
in
1
there.
of Marvel had Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, leading up to Avengers. Only 4.
Oh yeah, I think Zelda's Thor. I think Zelda's like, whoa, where'd you come from? Like
Okay.
you make it weird. You make it kind of fish out of water.
I think we have to keep sci-fi out of phase 1. So
Yeah, like
I'm
No
Guardians.
Star Fox, no
F-Zero, no Star Fox, no
No
Metroid.
Metroid.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we'll save that for phase 2.
Can we get Castlevania
You need
in
Donkey
there
Kong.
somehow?
Donkey Kong's like Hulk.
Donkey Kong's in there. He's the Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah, Donkey Kong is... I kind of want to lead with Donkey Kong, but I think you're right. They have to lead with Mario.
You gotta leave with Mario.
Mario's more like Captain America though.
Yeah, like Iron
It's
Man.
Yeah.
It's Iron Man. It's kind of like looking. I forget what it's called, but false history, whatever. Where like Iron Man was not the most popular Marvel character when they
Yeah.
started those movies. He like it's all because of RDJ being so good and those movies being good that he's seen as one of the main Marvel characters. But he was top 5, but he was not like the big guy.
Was.
You can have it.
Was.
Oh,
He
yeah,
is
so-
fun now.
I'm saying like Huber, what is like? Do we really start with Mario? I
Start
gotta
with
question that, dude.
Start with the original Donkey Kong then, where it's Cranky Kong
I mean,
as.
What
Donkey
about, what about like
You start with Mario. You
Really,
gotta
though?
start with Mario.
You need the strong name
Start
to
with
start
Mario.
right off the bat.
Because everything can spin off from there. You get little nods, dude, the Mushroom Kingdom and stuff.
But yeah,
that,
what if-
allude to other parts of the greater universe?
What
Okay.
if DK is the Captain America, kind of like the Wonder Woman, where so you have the modern Mario, but then that all the stuff with Cranky happened in his past, and so then you do DK next. You go
That's
back
pretty
in
fun.
time.
Yeah.
You have Mario, very young Mario,
Mhm.
having the first
I
time
think-
Peach has ever been kidnapped. No, it's Daisy, right? In the first one, isn't
No,
it
it's,
Daisy,
that's
DK or
Peach.
Peach,
I
the
think-
DK in the
No.
first?
Oh, you mean in Donkey
going up the
Kong?
ranks? Yeah.
That's Pauline.
Yeah, it's
all
canonically Pauline now.
Okay, yeah. So you introduce her and like
Yeah.
where she went, and then like, yeah. And so by the time you've watched both Mario and Donkey Kong, then you have a frame of reference on all of them and
All right,
kind
I have a
of
question.
how Luigi fits into it, all that. And
Will you let me do a Kirby game in phase 1? Sorry, Kirby movie.
Yeah.
if you
I
keep
think
it
I think
terrestrial.
coincides with Mario well, but like I don't know if it's gonna be a popular
Kirby
movie.
is like Thor, dude.
No, that's like a Netflix show.
Kirby comes
Yeah.
in on like some
What?
star,
No.
dude. He's like some ooey gooey thing.
Netflix is like Ice Climbers.
They don't even get it. They don't even get it
the
Netflix
Netflix
show.
of Nintendo.
Oh, you know what? I think we should do Animal Crossing phase 1.
What's
You're
the
getting
story?
you're
then?
getting
What?
too crazy.
That's
You're getting too
a
crazy.
TV show, man.
No, because
Dude,
honestly,
no, because you do 10 episodes of Animal Crossing. You can like go through different days of the town. It lends itself to television way better than a movie.
I'm with Huber. Yeah.
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 Okay. The reasoning is like you got to start low key. You know what I mean? Like you get to a certain point where the stakes are too high to have like a silly, simple movie. You know, and so that's what I was thinking there. But you're right. We could do a series for Animal Crossing.
What if we actually started with
With what?
Oh, he cuts out right when he says it. I heard "fa."
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not making
Start out with "fa."
no
Fox?
If
I don't know.
Star Fox?
Yeah, maybe.
test?
Hey, we're back.
F-Zero, Fire Emblem. What?
Fire Emblem, yeah.
It's so like it'd be cool if you could. Yeah, I mean it's all these going to be worked in, but like if you want to keep it like low stakes, I think it should be Mario and Donkey Kong should definitely be a part of it.
Yeah.
I actually think Little Mac and Punch Out should be a part of it because it's one of the earlier ones and it's not too fantastical. I think the it should revolve around like New Donk City or like the cities under like the I know like you want to save the city and each one like doing their part and each one has a villain, but like there's like a mastermind like
That's really good, dude.
who's really behind this. We just need like a fourth. And then
It's gotta be
like
Zelda,
the teaser at the end of the first Nintendo Avengers or Smash Brothers movie is it's Smash. It's like the newcomer shows up and it's like one of the like it could be Animal Crossing or Fire Emblem's like
I think
Yo,
Splatoon, dude. I think
there's
it's Splatoon.
more.
Yeah.
Splatoon could be in phase 1 and
Yeah.
it's like there's more than just your little New Donk City here. Like there are other worlds.
My only demands are that Mario and Zelda and Donkey Kong all need to be phase 1. They're
Yeah.
the real OGs.
I think that's what we have collectively agreed.
I think
No,
I
we
think
don't have
it's
Zelda.
Link. I think it's Link
Gotta
who
have
shows
Zelda.
up at the end of the first one. It's like you haven't seen anything yet, and then
So
like
we do Zelda instead of Splatoon. I'm cool with that swap.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Although
phase
I think Splatoon and New Donk City like work together really well.
But for the fourth movie of phase 1, we do need to shock them. So right now it's going Mario, Donkey Kong, Punch Out, and then Zelda for the end of phase 1, which I think is really good.
Nice, because then you can go back into like some Triforce legend setting up the
I
big
think
bad
Zelda's
villain.
out of place in the first series. Here's some. I mean,
We got to shock them though, Damiani.
Yeah, I don't think it's out of place. I think it works well at the end.
Gotta
So-
have it.
Just
Should
think
be
about
a
think about how
custom
Thor did. You
robo.
just like introduce Hawkeye really subtly, and have shield
Pick-
implementation.
Thor also introduced magic. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even know how Thor would fit in this pretty like this Iron Man Hulk universe. You know what I mean? Where there wasn't magic yet.
What if you get Yoshi gets his own movie?
No.
Okay.
No. How dare you? I mean, Bowser gets his own in phase 2. Bowser gets his own movie in phase 2.
Sick.
I have a final question. I think
Yeah.
we need a Loki. Who's our Loki?
Wario or Waluigi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotta be one of those two.
Does
Um,
Luigi get his own movie?
Luigi's Mansion is a movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. Oh my
Zant could be
god. I'm
Loki.
in.
Luigi's Mansion's like Ant-Man. It's like we gotta take a while to get
Yes.
there.
I think
Yo, we're ready, dude. Let's pitch this.
we're ready. Let's do
Pitch
it.
this to Nintendo.
We talked about this for 20 minutes. We're ready.
Yeah, let's go.
Get him on the phone.
That's how
Call
long
him
it
up,
takes,
Bloodworth.
right?
You know people, right, Blood?
And so, do we save all the sci-fi stuff for
I mean,
phase
this is
3?
basically the new Smash Brothers, whatever it's spirits, whatever it is.
Yeah, I like bringing in Star Fox and Metroid at the same time in phase 2. I think that's cool.
Cool.
That's so hype.
I have a new theory about that spirits thing.
Oh yeah.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Because
We're
all
still
the-
under
in the
time. Let's
universe
hear
of
it.
Smash Brothers, all of the characters are actually trophies. They're tokens. They have to be brought to life by being touched and stuff. So they like you're giving them like awakening their spirit. So I don't think it's like they died and you gotta do anything like that. I think it's
Right.
you gotta find their like trophy token things in the world and like bring them to life essentially.
What if you can swap spirits? So you have like Mario inside of Samus's body, like like trying out the powers and stuff. Yeah,
I think Sakurai goes for that.
spirit swap. And the Avengers is just called Smash Brothers.
No,
No, we'll we'll think of something else for a name.
because Smash
but-
Brothers is just about like fighting each other, which is
Right.
part of it. That's like the first part
That's
acts
Civil
of
War.
Avengers. Yeah, but like we need an enemy
It's
for them to be
Civil
up
War.
against.
Donkey Kong, Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
No, it's gotta be like Ganon or
I
something.
love Ganon as the first
Oh.
villain.
You
Nah.
make up. We got to make up like a bigger, serious spanning, but not like stupid like Smash Brothers villains, but like
It's not
like,
a Master
like
Hand, yeah.
Smithy shows
I like,
up and like
Yes.
wrecks the world, and it's like, what's the Smithy thing? He's from space. What?
I don't like getting cute with it, man. I like keeping it simple. I like Bowser as the villain, but really Ganon is the one pulling the strings
Thanos?
behind the scenes, and
I
he's
think
the
that's where
main
to go.
villain.
Mecha Koopa.
Ganon's so high.
Giga Bowser.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to
Meta Knight.
go.
Where's Meta Knight on this?
Meta Knight is weak. Like he's I don't think he's a good character.
He's like Ultron.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll give Meta Knight his own Ultron movie for sure.
I was thinking
No, you're gone
No.
again, Bloodworth. Right at the end, we almost had him for the whole time. Poor Blood.
Or Bloodworth.
Poor Blood. Hey, at least he made it.
But we are it. That is our final question. It is obvious that Alexander Zirianov had something. There's a lot of posts on here of him trying to save it, and it's gone.
Damn.
That's crazy. Refresh it, Jones. Do one last refresh before we go offline.
Let's refresh before we
Yeah.
go offline. As we bring Blood back into the fold.
Bring Blood back into the fold.
While you're doing that, you all caught the?
I don't get it.
The theme song of
you're
Kingdom
back,
Hearts
Blood.
3 with Skrillex.
Wait,
Yeah.
it's on? You can hear it right now?
No, I don't think it's out yet.
Oh, okay.
No, you
Yeah,
can't hear it. But like, do you know why? You know Skrillex's name? What it really is?
No.
It's
What is
Killers with an X in it, just like all of the work.
Yeah, he's supposed to be. He was like a big fan, wasn't he?
Yeah. So he's a huge fan of Kingdom Hearts. People found like tweets from him from
That's
like
really funny.
forever ago, like before he was big, talking about Kingdom Hearts. And
And
stuff.
now he gets to work on it, dude.
I know. What a team, dude.
That's beautiful.
So
That's a
joy.
beautiful thing. I'm happy for him.
Bossman did it. I refreshed, and there it is. One more question, everybody. Hi, allies, from Alexander Zirianov. Video games may be one of the most technologically dependent types of art. You can read a last century book and think that it's a modern one. You can say with your eyes closed which game is old and which game is new. Each year, and especially each generation, we see huge improvements in graphics, AI, design, controls, multiplayer, and even interactive storytelling. We always try to get the best entertainment possible, so there is no reason to play an old game when there's so many new ones. Ouch. Yet people play them. Sure, nostalgia is a huge factor, but people play old games they've never touched before, and sometimes even try games from genres they've completely skipped. So there must be some other reason to pick an old over new. I know it's a hard question, but do you have any guesses on why old games are so popular among gamers?
Because they're still good.
Yeah, they're still fun and good.
Yeah, it's game design, dude. It's just hardcore game design. That's just,
I think it's like music. Yeah, I
Kyle
love.
could
I
even
love
do
when
a
time-
PowerPoint presentation on that.
Sure. I love when time just kind of whittles down a huge collection of something into like just you're panning for gold, and you just like every time you go back to a year or a console, just some of those things still. Like the PlayStation Classics, like how many times we have this conversation? What are the best PS1 games? I've had this conversation like 50 times, in the span of my career. But like I'll have it again. I love it just because it's but now 2018 now, like what are games that still impress us? The countdown we're doing next month is another fascinating just re-examining something so many years later, and my opinions have differed.
I love history. I love seeing the progression and the context of it all, seeing where games were and where they go. I love seeing the evolution of game franchises, going back to the beginning, playing them in order of release, seeing the evolution. Love that.
One thing I think is interesting is when you kind of get these games that are sort of like ahead of their time. They did something that nobody else seemed to follow up on until like 5 or 10 years later, like RPGs that had
Shenmue
enemies on the screen, rather than just random battles on the Super Nintendo. And then like a lot of the PlayStation games just kind of skipped doing that. And then later on, it's like games that had random battles from the beginning, like Dragon Quest, started putting enemies on the screen.
Zelda 2 did it.
Zelda 2 is a different weird thing. Because like you hit an enemy in that and like you go to a level
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
real
not-
time
it's
combat instead of turn based.
It's not an RPG really, but it's got more
That's
RPG elements than the
RPG.
others.
Yeah, it is. It's experience systems and everything.
Yeah.
It's just action RPG, way
Yeah.
ahead of its time.
Yeah, if you're all gonna call Bloodborne an RPG, you have to call Zelda 2 an RPG.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Cast spells.
I don't know.
You have to use MP
the only-
points to cast spells.
Yeah, I
Like
mean
everything-
that's it though. Is the only stats are
You have
health and
attack.
magic.
You have attack, health, and magic.
Oh, there's an
Three
attack
stats,
stat
yeah.
too.
Yeah, definitely is. Yeah, there's.
There's towns. There's visiting towns.
Mhm.
How
There
about
are-
those towns.
There is a quest.
There's
system.
experience points, like it's RPG.
Wait, are there
Oh,
experience points?
Oh yeah, that's how. Yeah, it says by the sides X. You have X amount / of till next level.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then you could go beyond it if you didn't upgrade. You could keep like hoarding them.
Mm-hmm.
To answer this question, though, I think because video games are so technically advanced and they are a technology dependent medium. I think once you strip away things, those games still become desirable. I think we add a lot of things to games that make them more confusing or just more time consuming, just unnecessary things. I think we just stack a lot of things onto video games these days. And so going back to older games, even if you haven't played them, if you don't have nostalgia for them, there's value in just the simplicity of it, just the goals and the controls and just hitting two buttons to move. Like there's something that still will always feel good about old games, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think you nailed it just with time. It's just nice to play a game that's like an hour and a half and you're done. That's like
Yeah.
That's like why I was excited to play Goonies 2 and Easy Living, because I'm like, this is not going to take a while. You know, like we didn't finish it in under 2 hours, but you could easily. And so it's nice to just, I think that's why these classic things are so great. It's gonna be interesting now that we're getting into games that have like 40, 60 hour, like Symphony of the Night and stuff like that. Where you're just like, oh, sure, I'll just pop this in. But like, I love Pilot Wings, even though that was on Damiani's European SNES. But it's just like a great game that I'm like, oh, I'll always play that for at least 20 minutes. And if you just put a controller in my hand, like, it's just so easy to access. So,
yeah.
Any other takes before we wrap up the Q&A? Takes. Give me a take.
Surprised there are no questions about Peach Bowser.
Well, that's
Not
another
yet.
month. We'll see. Maybe there'll be a Love and Respect.
She is going to be in the third phase, though. We'll have a Peachette movie.
Good.
Count on it.
We can get there. I'll have to draw all that out. That sounds like that should be like an easy update or
That
something. We
and
just literally
Apple-
map out the entire thing.
Oh, can Chibi Robo be Ant-Man?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Kind of ancillary, not really focused on the main issue, but it's pretty funny and good movie. Yeah, that's good.
I gotta get Pikmin in there somewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Easy Allies Q&A. We do this once a month. This is a $20 and above tier on patreon.com/easyallies, so you can submit us questions. You can watch this live if you want to. You can see the post go up on Patreon. Sometimes if Ben or Ian isn't here, you got to wait for a little bit while we figure out how to get everything up and live. But we'd love to take questions. Again, we'll post the questions, the submission post on Patreon where you can submit questions, or you can just watch this live, or you can check this out, as many of you are probably doing on YouTube later. But thank you to Brad Ellis, Kyle Bossman, Daniel Bloodworth, Michael Damiani, and Michael Huber for joining me today and answering all these questions. We got through all of them because all of the allies were not present. Hopefully, we will have more of a stacked house of allies next month. But that is it. A wonderful September to all of you. Take care, everybody.